Where do I do that?
Let's see. How do you minimize your screen a little bit? Fun facts from that point in time. The population of the United States at that time was 125 million people. Herbert Hoover, the only president from Iowa, was the president at the time. Gas was 10 cents a gallon. A stamp was 2 cents. And the average price for a new home, Brad and Katie, pay attention, was $6,700.
Oh,
That's a few years ago. And one other fact from that point in time, the most popular baby names from that year, 1931, were Robert and Mary. So how many kids do you know today that are born that are named Robert and Mary? Not too many. So, but she ended up growing up in Sheraton and had the opportunity to go to college, and she was a student at Iowa State University in Ames, Iowa, in 4 years, graduated with a degree in child development. And I was pretty impressed with this fact. After she graduated, she was able to get a job in Chicago, in the Chicago suburb of Aurora, which is close to where Katie grew up. And she got a position whose title was preschool director. And I'm going, how can you be a director when you just graduated from college? Well, I guess when you only have to direct 3 people, you get the title of director. But she did that for about a year. And somewhere in all of that, she and our father, Frank, became engaged, and her job in Chicago was short-lived. Got married in 1954, and we're off to 2 years of service in the Army for our dad. And that started in Oklahoma. And then they got a pretty plum assignment. They were positioned to go to Frankfurt, Germany for the rest of the time. And so that happened in, let's see, about 1954. And 2 years, end of 2 years in Germany, and then they came back. While in Germany, though, she began her childbearing obligations, and I was the first child born in the family in 1955. But that time ended, and it was back to the U.S., and they landed at that point in Iowa City. So that was going to be, Dad was able to get into a late entrance into law school for 1956. And so that began a 3-year period of time in Iowa City. And along came 2 more kids at that point, Mark and Dave. And law school ended in 59. And at that point, Dad got a job in Spencer, Iowa, in a small law firm with John Greer and Jim James. And life began for Mom and the rest of us. And here she is sitting in Spencer, Iowa, almost 62 years later. So those were just some kind of highlights from her life growing up early on. In Spencer, she's lived in 5 different houses, including the one that she's in right now, and 5 kids starting out with less than a 10-year difference from oldest to youngest. And so we all can remember back to those times where lots of activities and lots of things were happening in the house, in school, at the Y, Cub Scouts. All those things were fair game for us. So she has spent the rest of her days in Spencer, with one exception. And in 1992, which means she would have been about 61 years old, somehow she became aware of a job that was available in Ames as a fraternity house mother. And she ended up taking that job, and she was working for the Alpha Gamma Rho AGR fraternity for 3 years, and so relocated to Ames and enjoyed life in a college town where there were lots of social and cultural activities for her. And after that time was over, do I have the dates right, Mom?
I think, yeah.
Okay, after that time, after that opportunity ended, she came back to Spencer and again is living a full and good life in Spencer. So I just thought some of those highlights would be of interest to those of you on the call. And I'll now shut up. And Mom, do you have any input that you want to add or anything to amplify on any of those points?
Lots of research there, and you had the dates, so no corrections that I can think of, but
Okay.
yeah, the faces are wonderful, all of them.
Okay. All right. So what we're going to do next is we're going to kind of just try to get some input from everybody who's on the call today. Brian and Tasha are going to go first, and they actually are not on the call there, and they'll explain why in this. I think it's about a 3-minute video that they put together just recently. And so with Sarah's help, that should appear on the screen here in just a second, hopefully.
Hey, I'd just like to point out that my birthday and Paul's birth in Spencer, Iowa was completely overlooked in that monologue. So just note that. But okay, so the volume is a little light on this video, I noticed. So I don't know if you can adjust anything on your end, but let's see if we can get this going. Oops. Nope. Stop share. Why did that not work? It worked in the test run. Okay.
Well, you can share. Yeah, share. Yeah, you got it there.
Yeah, but I don't think I.
Is it maybe right down there with the little arrow, the play button?
I've got my backup, Corey. Corey, you may have to go to work.
Zach, are you an expert sharer? Because I'll just email you the video if you are.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can give it a try, but I think
Okay.
support there.
Here.
Pretty good at it.
You go to desktop.
No, where is it?
I don't know. It disappeared. And it's not there with movies. I don't know. I haven't seen this.
This is just like most of the Zoom calls I'm on.
Let's do advanced. Yeah.
While we wait, can I ask you a question, Oma Polly, about your birthdays as a kid?
Say that again about my birthday. What?
Well, I wanted to ask you what memories you have when you were a child. If there were any traditions or anything like that that you had on your birthday growing up.
I didn't want a pony, but and you know, I didn't get a bicycle till I was about 10. But anyway, winter birthdays didn't call for lots of parties. And actually in the Depression, a lot of kids probably didn't mark their birthdays with parties. Is Corey done now?
No, keep going.
Okay. You know, at school, quaint little things you could bring, and you still can, can't you, to grade school, bring a lollipop or a cookie or something for each child on your birthday. And I have one memory. I was probably a pretty goody two-shoes little girl in school. And on one of those occasions when we had cupcakes, I don't know what the occasion was, I was eating mine down to the paper. And Miss Anderson said, you shouldn't do that. And I probably didn't ever like Miss Anderson after that. But, you know, that was truly a manners no-no, wasn't it? Sorry about that. Not even an interesting anecdote, but a third grade memory.
For sure.
All right. So are you, should we move up? Go ahead and program. Are you going to work on that, or is it retrievable somewhere? Brian and Tasha?
I don't have it on my end. And so I will continue to figure it out, work on it.
I will email that to you again, Sarah, and I'll copy Corey as well. I've also sent it to Zach. So
Here, I have it. You sent it to me. Let me try sharing it right now. It looks like.
Good. You go ahead, Zach. And why don't we, while you're working,
I think I got it. I have
okay,
it.
good. You're
Let's see.
a techno expert.
All right, let's see. I'm gonna, one sec. Can everyone see it?
There we go.
Yep.
yes.
All right, now,
That's great.
can we hear it?
No. Oh,
It's very low volume. So what I'm gonna do is I'll hook it up to my speaker. So someone else go, and then I'll get it ready.
All right, while Zach's working on that, why don't we go to Victoria and Bryce? Coming to us, I'm sure, I hope, I think, from San Juan, Puerto Rico. You guys have anything of interest you want to share? Why don't you tell us about your life down there in Puerto Rico, how things are going for you?
Okay. So we're in Puerto Rico. We've been here for the past year and a half. So we're on our way out. We'll find out where we're going within the next few months, hopefully. But Bryce is on a small patrol boat and I'm a marine inspector. So I do a lot of the cruise ships, the ferries, and the little catamaran boats that take a lot of the tourists out snorkeling. And I'll let Bryce talk about his job.
Yeah, I'm on a patrol boat, like she mentioned. So we do patrols like near the Dominican Republic, Venezuela, areas like that for counter narcotics and illegal immigration mostly. So, yeah.
And
What are your choices or thoughts about your next stop along the way?
we put San Diego at the top of the list, so hopefully we'll be able to visit Aunt Sarah and Uncle Corey a lot more. But we also put Virginia second. We put Virginia second, not the part of Virginia where Mom and Dad are, but a few hours south. And then we put Miami and then LA at the bottom. So
There's some opportunity in Duluth, Minnesota, too, I think. You
I
thought
would
about
be
that?
fine with Duluth, but there's not very many job opportunities for Bryce.
You
Are
need some
they- are
action. Not
are they
much
good
action
about-
in Duluth.
Are they good about keeping couples together?
They usually are. So we actually haven't been told definitively if I'm going to be able to leave with Bryce yet. So we'll probably find out in like mid-March, early April if I'm going to be able to leave, because my billet is traditionally 3 years. So I still have a year left in my contract. So, and Bryce's is only 2, but they say that they try to keep us together. So we'll see.
Okay, good. How do you like living in San Juan?
We really enjoy it. We're about a mile and a half away from our base. So we usually bike into work, which has been really nice since we only brought one car with us to Puerto Rico. We live about a 5-minute walk to the beach. And since we grew up thinking Virginia Beach was the coolest beach ever, Puerto Rico's been a lot of fun to kind of explore the different beaches. There's a rainforest and a desert area here. So just been able to take advantage of all the things there are to do outdoors, especially with COVID. We've been very thankful to have the opportunity to go out a lot.
How's your Spanish?
It's actually improved a lot. I took this Spanish test before I got, I came to Puerto Rico. And then I did mediocre from the Spanish I took at school, but then I almost doubled my score and I just took it last week. So I'm very happy with that. I have a lot of coworkers that speak Spanish, so they would speak to me in the office, especially a lot of locals. And I wasn't always able to respond back in Spanish, but just constantly hearing it was really helpful.
She's being humble. One of her coworkers is a Puerto Rican and took the test, and she only scored 1 point lower than him. So which is good.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
So is there much discussion there about statehood for Puerto Rico?
The Puerto Ricans voted that they wanted to become a state, but they do that pretty much every year and nothing really happens. I don't think Puerto Ricans actually want to become part of the US. I think if they actually understood what all that would entail, I don't think they'd like it, because there's a lot of weird road rules and just general practices that would not fly in the US. Like bikers, not bikers, but cyclists will go on the freeway and highway and the police are fine with it. People drink alcohol and drive, and it's totally normal here. So stuff like that would not go over well if the US came and made them a state.
That sounds just like Iowa.
All right. Any other questions for Victoria and Bryce? When are your parents going to come and visit, Victoria?
They came in March with Brianna, for Brianna's spring break. So that was a lot of fun. Alina was supposed to come with some of her roommates in April, but then everything was shut down. But we had fun. We went to a few beaches. We went to a bioluminescent bay. It's I think there's only 5 in the world, and Puerto Rico has 3, and we went to the second brightest. So that was a lot of fun. And then we went to a few beaches, and Brianna and my parents were able to go on Bryce's boat and get a tour of everything.
Great.
So we're still here for another 4 or 5 months. So if anybody wants to come visit, you're always welcome.
Very good. Well, thanks a lot. Good report. Zach, are you ready to go?
Oh, let's see if we can fire up this video.
Yep.
The volume on the video itself is very low, so I put it on my speaker and I'm going to hold it near the computer and let's see if that works. But there might be some horrible feedback, so bear with me. Let's see, one sec. All right.
90th birthday to you. It's an incredible accomplishment, and we're
Can anyone hear?
sad that we can't be in attendance at your big Zoom party tomorrow. A 90th birthday deserves a lot more fanfare than virtual.
Can people hear? You have to listen really carefully. It's as loud as we're going to get. Okay, great. Let me restart it.
All right, hello. I hope this is working, but Grandma just wanted to call in and say happy 90th birthday to you. It's an incredible accomplishment, and we're sad that we can't be in attendance at your big Zoom party tomorrow. Honestly, a 90th birthday deserves a lot more fanfare than I think a virtual Zoom teleconference. But I guess the cool thing about being able to do that is having all your family on the call at the same time, which will certainly be cool too. I know it's been a long time since everybody in the Nelson family has gotten together. So we'll send our best wishes and happy birthday from Charleston, South Carolina. That's actually the reason that we'll be unable to be on the call tomorrow. We decided as a result of not being able to take a traditional honeymoon since we got married in October, Tasha and I were going a little bit stir crazy at home. We've been working from home every single day since last March, so it's almost been a full year now. And miserable Minnesota winters, not being able to go outside, working from home every single day was not a good recipe for us. And we decided a couple of weeks ago to pack all of our stuff in the car and start driving south, somewhere warm. And somewhere warm, of course, we picked probably the coldest month in United States history across the country, but it's 50 degrees or so here, which is, I think, 70 degrees or something crazy, warmer than the Twin Cities, which we left. So we've been down in Charleston for 2 weeks now. We're going to be here in Charleston for another week, and then are planning on spending some time in Savannah, Georgia, and then eventually working our way back to the Midwest and back home. So it's been a fun couple of weeks now. It's been a really good change of scenery for us. Having a fun time, exploring these areas and this part of the country and getting fat, eating all this other food down here. which is plentiful and delicious stuff, as anybody who's been down here can certainly attest to. So other than that, things for us been kind of same as always. Working a lot and trying to find some time for us on the weekends. I know we're both looking forward to warmer weather and sunshine and the ability to be outdoors and doing the stuff we like to do again. Hopefully, by the time that rolls around in Minnesota, we'll be vaccinated, or at least most of the country will, and we can start getting back to doing the things we like. One of those being getting together with our family and seeing everybody who will be on the phone tomorrow. So that's all we've got from here. Hope everybody else is doing well. Again, happy 90th birthday, and look forward to celebrating 91 with you in person. Happy birthday.
All right.
Well, thanks, Zach, for doing that and getting the last part of it was pretty good. We could at least we could hear it. And just to kind of capsulize what Brian said, he and Tasha about 3-4 weeks ago took off in their car, and you know, they've both been, as he said, been working from home for almost a year now, and they're on their little journey. They've continued to log in and do the work that needs to be done. They've taken a few 3-4 day weekends off during the whole trip, but started off in Nashville, and then are down in South Carolina now, and then will be making their way back up to Chicago, and they have, I think, a wedding to go to, and then they'll be coming back home. So kind of an interesting way to spend some time away from home here, and it hasn't been the greatest of weather for them, but it's certainly a lot better than.
They did have a brief stay at Mount Pleasant, Iowa, because of weather on the way down, and got to stay at a Quality Inn, so that added.
So anyway, they're having fun, and we'll see what happens. So Zach, how about you going next and offer up a little bit of a overview of what you're up to these days in Bologna?
Sure. So I think the last time I saw many of you, I just moved back at Brad and Katie's wedding, moved back from Myanmar, and I spent the last 2 years in and out of South Sudan with a 6-month interlude and a romantic interlude in London that didn't go anywhere, but you know, so lovely as it goes. And now I'm at the Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies called SAIS, studying economics, first year here in Bologna, Italy, and then second year in DC. And Omapal, I know how much you like photos, so I just put together some photos that I can just, quickly share. And I apologize if this stirs any wanderlust in people. To be fair, we are on full lockdown right now. Everything is closed, so these were taken in the in-between times. But I thought I'd just share a few photos here. Can you guys see the PowerPoint?
Yeah.
So this is, wait one sec. Un momento. So yeah, super cool city. That's me and my only friend in Bologna on the left. And it's a city of porticos. The whole city is kind of covered like this. I live about a mile from the school and I can get there completely covered. It's a really beautiful place, as you can see. Christmas, the city completely shut down. I'm kind of ruined living in Italy during the pandemic. You can go to, when we are allowed to travel, right now we can't even leave the city walls, but I managed to go to Venice and Florence and there was not a tourist in sight. And I think the last time it was like that was the last pandemic in the Black Death. So it's definitely a different scene, but it's a beautiful city of cobblestones and towers. And that tower is mentioned in Dante's Inferno, for instance, and cute little shops and stuff, and nuns, as one might imagine. And it's got 3 nicknames: La Rosa, the Red, because the Red Brigades were here, the kind of leftist terror group from the 70s and 80s. La Grasso, the Fat, it's the culinary capital of Italy for all the Italians. And La Dota, the Learned, which is the oldest university in Europe. University of Bologna is here, so there's 80,000 young hormonal Italian college students here at all times. The food is amazing. Those of you who have been to Italy or eaten Italian food know that to be the case. Bologna is known for its heavier, kind of meatier stuff. Right there in the middle is lasagna alla bolognese. They make the dough with a basil, so it's green. Lots of tortellini and mortadella. Bologna is where Bologna comes from. And then lots of Northern Italian classic Aperol spritz, all Italians at 5 p.m. really live that La Dolce Vita, the sweet life, and everyone's drinking and, you know, smoking cigarettes left and right, unfiltered most of the time. So I take off my clothes when I arrive home so that I can wash them to get the cigarette stink off. And I do manage to have some friends. We do have the advantage of having in-person classes. They are completely masked up. Some of our professors are throughout Europe and the United States, so they're on Zoom, but friends from all over the world, Italians, Americans, and otherwise. And with so many things closed, you know, we spend most of our time at each other's homes in groups of 6 or less. One of my friends has a stuffed crocodile in their home. A lot of weird apartments in this old city. And then, yeah, that's the view from my house there on the right. On the day of the US election, somebody put up a US flag over one of the little canals. And then a few stories up, I got a nice view of the city. And then, yeah, some of the places I've been, to Lake Como, to the little Principality of San Marino, and Venice, Florence. And yeah, I mean, this time last year, I was living in a shipping container in South Sudan. So life is a lot better. Maybe the military girls among us and Bryce know that life as well. But I know I've got a carpet and an oven, and so I'm easy and happy. So yeah, that's my life. Thank you for bearing with me for that. And let me
No,
see.
great story, and looks like you're plenty busy. When will you said you'll be coming back to the US for your second year at some point?
Yeah, I'm trying, and however I can, to stay in Europe over the summer, and practice my French, and then yeah, be in Washington D.C., so close to the Virginia Nelsons, who I also saw last time I was there. Lovely, it was National Kite Day or something, if you guys remember. We all hung out on the green. What's it called? The mall, not the green.
Hey Zach, how was South Sudan? What was that like?
Oh, I mean, it's the same sort of work that anyone else does, just worse internet and more cockroaches, but just as much time in front of an Excel pivot table for all of those that stare into the computer screen for their jobs. But no, it was a very challenging job, and I've just moved from one place with a curfew to another. There's a 10 p.m. curfew that's very heavily enforced here. The Italians are very good at they went through the trauma of that first lockdown, that everyone complies with mask orders and things of that nature. So it's a different Italy from those that I imagined.
So is Italy distributing vaccines now for COVID, or how's that working in Italy?
In theory, we're up in the north here near Lombardy, right, which was the hot zone in March near Milan and Lake Como and such. And so, it's colder here and people are older. And so, some of my Italian doctor friends and such have gotten vaccinated, but, I interact with young people most of the time. So how about in this group, who has been vaccinated? Anybody? 1, 2, 3. And 3.5, Mom, you've had half, right?
I've had half as well, so.
Okay, so 4, add up together. Yeah.
All right. Good report. How about we go to the Quran family? Carter, you're up there. What's going on with you?
So I don't have a PowerPoint or a slideshow or anything. Yeah, no, things have been slow, as you can imagine, for a musician in Los Angeles. So yeah, there's been no gigs, except I have had this church gig that I've been doing every week, which has been really nice, actually. It's been very consistent, and they basically do a live stream every Sunday, which has been great for me to have people to play with. It's about 5 of us, and yeah, that's been like my most consistent thing, as well as teaching. I have a few private drum students that I teach, and other than that, just my band. I actually live with a member of one of my roommate is the band mate. And so we try to work on stuff when we can, and then 2 of our other members are very well, one of our members, she can't really meet with us because her mother is sick. So we've been trying to do virtual as much as possible. We each have our own recording setups, so we've done a lot of virtual recording stuff, and we're trying to potentially record an EP in the coming months, but it's been pretty slow other than that. And I have a space that I go and practice.
Mhm. All right.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So
Good.
Carter, did you just got out of college? Has it just been a year?
2 years.
Okay, or going on 2. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And so where do you live in LA?
Echo Park.
Where's that?
It's like it's 10 minutes like northeast of downtown. It's pretty close to downtown LA.
Is that a good place to live? I mean, you close to the things you like to do, the beach or the gigs? Or...
It was really great when things were normal. There's so many venues in like 10-minute drive range. So when I was gigging a lot, it was perfect. It was such a great like central location. And it's a good area. There are a lot of artists and musician type people that live in this area. There's a street called Sunset that's like 5 minutes that way, just filled with bars and clubs and restaurants and stuff that are all closed. But yeah, so it's a great spot.
Okay.
Do you have a favorite drum student? Show your
So
favorite.
I actually only have 2 right now, and they're brothers. But yeah, they're both great. I love them. They're like, you know, my good friends now, since they're like the only people I've been seeing as well. But yeah, they're 9 and 12, so they're good kids. Yeah.
I just got a note from Dave that indicated that Brianna is on a kind of a tight time frame. So why don't we go next to her and find out what's going on with Brianna. Hello?
I think she said that she stepped out, but I'll text her and then tell her to maybe send a message to the family when she gets back.
Oh, okay. How about we just did Carter. Well, let's Claire, what's going on with you?
Hi. Well, I recently moved back down to San Diego. I was living up in Northern California in a small town called Nevada City for 2.5 years, working at a sanctuary. And that was really great. It was a great experience, but I'd been thinking about leaving for quite some time by the time I left, and packed all my stuff in my tiny Corolla and drove down to San Diego. Spent about 6 months living back with the Rents. It was great. But then it was time to fly the nest again. So about a month ago, my best friend Nicole and I moved in together, a very long 10 minutes away from my parents' house. And it's been great. I have a job at the San Diego Council on Literacy. It's a nonprofit in San Diego. We basically, we don't really do direct instruction, but we support a group of 30 affiliate programs in their efforts to do the direct instruction. So it's only been a few months there. It's been good so far. The major drawback is it's part-time. So, looking for something else to supplement it. We'll probably move on from it at some point this year, since it's not necessarily sustainable long-term, but yeah, things are good.
Okay, great. Questions?
I don't have any questions. She's looking good.
Are you staying in touch with your Zags?
Yeah. It's been a while since we've all been together, of course. The last time was the last wedding. But there's scheduled to be another wedding this fall, so we'll be all together then. But yeah, we Zoom sometimes, and I don't know if anyone knows like Jackbox TV games, they're just like fun little party games. So we'll play those together. And yeah, the rest of my family honestly keeps up with the basketball team a lot better than I do, if we're being honest. But my mom keeps me in the loop about the players and stuff. So
Yeah, they're having a pretty good year. They're undefeated.
Mhm.
So, and
Yeah.
they have lots to cheer about.
Yeah, definitely.
What's great about being back in California, if anything?
Well, even though the name Nevada City would suggest it was in Nevada, that was a California town as well.
Oh yeah, you were way up north, right?
Yeah, but I
Pretty
was
close.
almost in Nevada. I was pretty close to Reno. But anyways, the weather, of course. I mean, that's maybe an uninteresting answer, but it's beautiful basically year round. And being back with my family and some of my very closest, oldest friends I've known, almost my entire life has been really nice, because basically since college, I've been bopping back and forth, not spending too much time back at home. So it feels good to be back. It was time. So.
Okay, good report. How about Emily? You've been sitting there quietly out in Boston, I suspect. What do you got going on?
Hi.
Brianna's back.
Oh yeah, but Brianna's back if she needs to
Okay.
get out, but I'll go next too.
Brianna, are you under a time commitment?
No, I'm good. Emily can go ahead.
Okay, Emily, go for it.
So as Uncle Steve said, yeah, I'm in Boston, have not left the city in over 12 months. In March, I was working at the Museum of Fine Arts here, and then on the 12th, we shut our doors and didn't open again until late August, early September. And I was lucky enough to be furloughed, so I was collecting some nice unemployment for a little while I was reading some books and sitting on my porch and kind of just hanging out for about 6 or 7 months. But as I said, work did return on the 6th, but the museum's kind of only in a semi-open status. It's about 40% capacity. Not all of the galleries are open. Everyone has to be masked, and like there's 6 feet apart for everywhere you go. So it's kind of every day is kind of a new learning experience with it, and it's just a little odd, but I'm very happy to have something to return to. And I live with 3 roommates, 2 of which I went to school with, and I love them. But after 6 or 7 months of being in the same house with the same exact people, all working from home, it's nice to get out of the house every other day, I will say.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of it. And no photos. And if I had to share any, it would be the view from my window or the view from my back porch, which is a car park. So nothing terribly exciting.
Which one of your roommates has the most annoying breathing?
You do, not specific breathing, but you do start to notice little traits of the people you live with. And sometimes it doesn't take much to snap. No, but for real, like we all get along very well. I'm very fortunate. And I'm blessed to not live alone. I think if I was alone for 8 months, I'd have gone crazy.
Emily, do you still live in the same apartment, kind of close to Harvard?
Yes, actually. So yeah, I think Brianna and Victoria and Zach were here at the same time the year ago, 2 years ago. We're still there. So we're we're quite close to the city distance-wise, but it's kind of hard to get to via public transportation. The quickest route is driving, but I don't have a car. So it's a great place, and it is cheaper than living exactly in the city. But if I were to move, I'd probably try to get either a little closer to the city or somewhere even closer to public transportation. But it's nice. I live right by the Charles River, which is the main river here in Boston. And right now it's kind of snowed over. We've been receiving a lot of snow too, but we'll go on walks and go on runs down by the river, which is really nice.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Emily. And how about Brad? Are you there still, Brad? Brad and Katie?
We're here.
Okay, go for it.
First off, happy birthday, Grandma. Happy 90th. So Katie and I, well, we weren't living in a shipping container, but we kind of were in our high rise in Chicago. It was about the same size. And have been living, working, eating, sleeping, cooking, everything from our 750 square foot apartment since, well, we went into lockdown even earlier than Brian, so mid-February for me. And decided that we needed some more space. So we, in June of 2020, signed a purchase agreement to build a new home that we moved into on February 4th. So we have been here for 3 weeks now, kind of built the home of our dreams for probably the foreseeable future, and have been busy furnishing it and dealing with CenterPoint Energy as we woke up with no heat a couple of times in negative 20-degree weather, which was a good thing for a new homeowner to move into. So we've been dealing with all the homeowner problems that you guys have dealt with for many years, but it's been a rude awakening for Katie and I. I still have not told my employer that I moved to Minnesota. We are in a temporary work from home for the foreseeable future. I think we're supposed to return to office on July 1st. So I've got a couple months to figure out my game plan here, but Katie left her position at Lurie Children's Hospital in the cardiovascular intensive care unit and will be joining the University of Minnesota Masonic Hospital in the same unit.
Yep. Next week, my first day. We'll see how it goes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So she's vaccinated, and I am waiting for my name to be called, probably in 2022.
We love having them back.
Oh, we love being back, Mother.
So how far, if you're driving at the speed limit from your house to your old house, your parents' house?
Yeah, it's probably only 15 to 20 minutes from Steve and Marcia, and it's about 5.5 to 6 to see our in-laws, or my in-laws.
Oh.
Oh, it's not bad.
Oh, hours. Yeah.
And Katie, what's your commute going to be like? How long will it take you to get to the hospital?
We actually drove it the other day just to see, and it's right around 30 minutes, which is long for me considering I walked to work and it would take me 10 minutes to walk. So this is going to be definitely different. But we'll see. I'm excited. It's a similar unit, but it's much smaller than what I'm used to working on. I used to be in a 44-bed unit, and this is only a 12-bed unit.
Wow.
So it's definitely going to be different. I actually just got a call yesterday, unfortunately, that their main surgeon just didn't tell anyone and left. So I don't really know what that's going to look like for me, but we'll see next week when I officially start.
Will you have manageable hours, or are you going to be, night shifts and weekends just because you're the newest person?
Yeah, so I'll be rotating. I'll do 1 or 3 weeks on days, 3 weeks on nights. Because I came in with experience and now I'm working for a union, and they do everything based on how much experience you have, what level of education. And since I have my master's, I actually come in higher than some of the people that have been there, which is nice. So I might not have to work any holidays if I don't want to, but I'll kind of figure out more in the next couple of weeks when I see everybody there and talk to my manager more.
That's great. Cool.
Yeah.
Did you guys import your friends from Chicago, or do you have a pre-existing group there in Minnesota?
Katie's kind of leaving most things behind. She's become really close with all my friends from high school and that kind of stuff. So it's been good. We actually had some friends over last night. Yeah, I mean, a handful of people that live here, not a ton, but she's pretty outgoing. I don't think she'll have any trouble making new friends at the hospital.
And Brad, I was wondering if you have any friends at work because nobody knows you've moved. How are you keeping it quiet, or how are you laying so low?
I don't have, I've got great working relationships with my coworkers. I wouldn't say I've got great friendships with them. I was the youngest person on my team by like 25 years for the longest time, until there was some turnover recently. And now there's some people who are more in line with my age. But yeah, I mean, it's not like we see anybody. I haven't seen a coworker since February. So we're not doing virtual happy hours.
Is your new neighborhood in these new homes filled with young couples?
Yeah. Everybody's kind of in their young 30s, a lot of little kids running around. We're looking forward to next Halloween when we can hand out some candy. But yeah, we're excited. It's been so cold that we haven't really had an opportunity to meet any of our neighbors or take the dogs on walks or anything. We've joined some of the Facebook groups for our neighborhood association, and it seems like they do some cool things. Last night, all the food trucks came and were in our development. A lot of people get together, and I think there's bonfires and kind of block parties and that kind of stuff. So we're excited to get to meet some new folks around here, but just needed to warm up first. Yeah, and for the pandemic to go away.
Brad, I told your dad this, but I met a girl that went to Egan High School the other day. She works on my base.
Do you know who? Her last name?
She just graduated last year, so she's a lot younger. But Edwards, she had a older sibling that I don't think was in high school when you were there either.
Small world. Is she nice? Minnesota nice?
Yeah, she's really nice.
All right.
Well, we've got to take off. I again just want to say happy 90th birthday, Grandma.
Yeah, happy birthday.
We miss you and can't wait for things to end and for all of us to be vaccinated so we can come see you in Spencer soon.
Yeah,
That's good. See you then.
All right.
Bye.
Love you guys.
Yeah. Okay, Brianna, we're back to you.
Hi, everyone. First, happy birthday, Grandma. So for my side of things, Alina and I are at the academy doing classes and everything. So this is kind of a common setting, except we're usually on Microsoft Teams. So I actually find Zoom kind of foreign to me. But I have probably like a half and half mix of in-person and virtual classes. The academy's been really great about pushing for in-person classes. So that's one thing I'm really grateful for, because I know a lot of my friends from back home, it's all pretty much virtual classes. But yeah, pretty much it's just been school. We're pretty limited on being able to go outside of the academy gates, just because COVID's kind of a concern and they're trying to keep all 1,000 of us kind of in a bubble. So we're not, spreading COVID between us and everything. So we've been doing a lot of activities within the academy, like this semester and last semester, they've ramped up the IC sports program, which I never did, but I did badminton last semester, and then this semester I'm doing ping pong, so that's been fun. Also doing a little bit of tennis, so lots of different activities for them to keep us busy. But yeah, it's pretty much just been school and staying on base and having those small opportunities to go outside. We've also gotten a lot of snow. I remember my first and second year here, we barely got any snow, and then we've been already hit with 3 or 4 storms. But unfortunately, because of virtual school, we don't really have snow days. So it's not like high school. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been up to, just school and trying different things.
Is, like you said, you're in kind of like a giant bubble with everyone there. Is everyone like getting tested? Like you're able to hang out socially like you usually are, or?
Yeah, so it's a lot different. They have a lot of guidelines. Like before, we used to be able to just eat down in the cafeteria with everyone, but now it's really restricted to like, only 4 people at a table. And we do get tested twice a week. It's the rapid test. So every morning, everyone signs up twice a week to get tested. And we've had some positive cases. And everyone who's tested positive goes down to this building called Monroe Hall. and it's kind of not really a joke, but no one wants to get sent down there because they also do contact tracing, and sometimes you end up contact tracing like 11 people, and so you're stuck down there for 2 weeks in isolation, and it gets really sad. But yeah, for the most part, I think
to you?
no, thankfully it has not, but I would say a decent amount of people have tested positive. No one's really gotten super sick from it. A lot of people have just been asymptomatic. And they have started the process of vaccinating faculty and staff, and supposedly we're the next slate of people to get vaccinated, but they haven't told us anything about that. But yeah.
Tell us, you had a tutorial that the Academy did on sushi making, sushi?
Yes.
That
I
fun?
was telling Grandma about this earlier, but because of COVID and everything, we can't do as many activities outside of base. So a lot of the clubs are trying to do activities for the cadets. So I'm part of APAC, which is the Asian Pacific American Council. And 2 nights ago, we did a sushi tutorial. So one of the chefs at the cafeteria here at the Academy kindly made these little sushi kits for 50 cadets. And he was on this big screen showing everyone how to do the rolls and everything, and like arrange the vegetables and everything. So that was a lot of fun. Even though it's like small events, it's those little things that we all look forward to, and we all got to eat it and do it in our own room safely. So that was awesome.
Brianna, what are your plans for the summer?
So hopefully it's a pretty normal summer. I know at least one phase I'm actually going to be in DC at Coast Guard headquarters doing an Intel internship. So I had to go through this whole process of getting my security clearance and everything. So I think I am cleared at this point, but I'll be there for the first phase. And then the second phase, I'm hoping to do this program called Shipwriter, because I am interested in prevention, which is what Victoria is doing, and kind of a program that helps prepare you for that billet is where you go on actually like cruise vessels or commercial vessels to kind of see how the operations are run, to kind of get a different perspective than the military side. Because like from the Coast Guard side, we're inspecting these vessels, but they want us to get experience from the commercial side to understand it from the perspective of the boat owners. So hopefully I'm going to be on a riverboat cruise, because right now normal cruise ships aren't really operating, but there are riverboat cruises that are operating right now like along the Mississippi. So hopefully I can go on that for at least one part of my summer.
Brianna, does the Coast Guard have postings like in places like Singapore, or is it all territorial US?
Yeah, I think the only places they have outside of the US, I mean, out of like the continental US is like Guam. I know they have some, and then Puerto Rico, but yeah, not any in Singapore.
That's more the Navy's thing. Do you guys have beef with the Navy?
Wait, what did you say? Sorry.
You guys have big beef with the Navy?
I think we're such a small branch that we don't really, but I don't know. I would say no.
Are you thinking of doing the exchange like Victoria did, or does that not even happen during this time of COVID?
Yeah, so if I were to do it, it would have been last semester, but they canceled it because of COVID concerns. But I didn't end up applying for that just because I wasn't super interested. But yeah, that would have been last semester. And yeah, they weren't able to end up doing that. But hopefully next semester or next year, they can do that.
Does everybody remember Victoria and Bryce? And so it's kind of easy going for you and Alina?
Yeah, it's funny because I was talking to Victoria. I was on this random call with this teacher, and out of nowhere, he goes, "Did you have a sister that graduated in 2019? And I was texting her later. I'm like, it's so funny because you'll just have random conversations about random stuff, and all of a sudden they'll bring up Victoria, and I'll have to explain like, no, she's Victoria Schroeder and stuff. So it's, the Coast Guard is so small that everyone kind of knows everyone. And it's also fun with Alina here because every once in a while I'll get someone who comes up to me and says, "Do you have a sister here?" And it's just funny seeing their reaction. And yeah, that's one thing I'm really grateful for too. Alina can talk about this later, but it can be kind of isolating at the Academy. You know, we're not able to see a lot of people, but it's been so nice having Alina here because it's a little part of home with me, even though she sometimes annoys me and I annoy her. It's fun having her.
I was just going to say, do you guys see each other frequently in person?
yeah, we see each other probably every single day. We actually live pretty close, so she'll stop by and I'll stop by. So
That's
it's
awesome.
nice. Mhm.
Are you in
Are there
your,
a lot of siblings at the same time at the academy?
Yeah, I would say there's a pretty decent amount. I think us three, it's pretty unique because obviously three is a lot, but I think right now there's twins. I know there's a pair of twins, which I think would be really fun. But there's a decent amount of siblings, and I think it's kind of tradition. Like once one sibling comes, another just kind of follows. So yeah, I would say it's pretty common.
are you in your room right now?
I am, yes.
Do you have a roommate, or is that just you in the room?
No, I do have a roommate, yes.
Whose bed are we looking at up on the top bunk there?
Oh, that's my roommate's bed.
And is yours right above your head?
Yes, it's like kind of like a bunk bed, but with a desk underneath, so maximizing space.
She really made the bed nice.
I'll let her know.
Nice tight.
You should learn.
I should learn. Come and give us lessons.
I don't know if Victoria's mentioned this. You've probably heard it before too, but we actually never sleep under the covers because it's just so annoying to make in the morning. So we all have our own separate blankets and sleeping bags to sleep on it. So I've never slept under the covers of my bed. I have a little blanket. So yeah.
Hilarious.
That's so
Everybody's shaking yes, they've been.
So when I go home, it's the best thing ever to go under my bed and not have to make it in the morning.
Brianna, you and Alina, and too late now for Victoria, ought to ask Uncle Mark one day about his pulley system that he developed when he was a kid and he did not want to have to make the bed. He probably should employ it now here, but you know, it's good enough for good enough.
You had an early morning paper route. I didn't care
Oh,
if
we
you
know.
finished your bed or not.
I think Steve and Dave and Sarah and I all were quite exemplary when it comes to making the bed.
Now,
Exactly.
in that category then.
As I recall,
Bad memory.
especially Dave.
Yeah. Let's hear from David.
All right,
MC.
well, thanks, Brianna. And is Alina, are you still online?
Yes, I am here.
Oh, we're waiting for your report.
Hi,
How you
everyone.
doing?
I'm doing well. It's nice seeing everyone. Happy birthday, Grandma. So I was actually a little sneaky, and I kind of copied what Zach did, and I made a little PowerPoint, or not a PowerPoint. I just got some photos together, so
Great.
I can share my screen real quick. So
All right.
props
Cool.
to him for the idea.
These Nelson cousins.
So just to so it's like a little background of what I've been doing. Can you guys see that?
Not yet.
It's
Okay.
loading.
You got to get a faster Wi-Fi at the Coast Guard.
Yes.
Oh, wait, here we go.
Here we
Can you
go.
guys see that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll go back one side. So this is life. I just thought pictures would be easy. So yeah, like what Brianna was saying, I'm here at the academy. I'll just go through these pictures real quick. Well, this is me. This is Mom, Dad, obviously. When they dropped me off at I already forgot what it's called, day 1 or whatever of boot camp or whatever. So me smiling, but 2 hours later I wasn't smiling. And here on the right side, also not as smiling Alina because I was probably getting yelled at. This top picture right here is going on Eagle. I don't know if you guys heard of. We probably talked about it enough. You guys kind of have a background of it. It's like this huge like ship, I guess you could say. It's like a training vessel. So this was me. I actually got to climb the mast, and it was like probably one of the scariest experiences of my life. And yeah, so I'll describe that some other time if you're interested for that story. This is my company. This is a picture I actually took last night. Me and some friends, we were like studying for this test that this thing called boards, which is like I guess you could say it's like a test, but it's like an oral test. This is me doing push-ups. Like Brianna or Victoria sent this picture in the group chat, but that's me doing a push-up for like the PT test or whatever. These are some of my friends as well. All have an M&M shirt on, so now our group name is M&Ms. And then these are my roommates I've had since prep school. That's me right there. So yeah, that's just a little snapshot of what I've been up to
That's
these
very cool.
past year. So yeah, I'm like my first year here, like what Brianna was saying, we actually live really close. Like there's 4 floors here, and like we could be literally on opposite sides, but we were so like fortunate. I literally could just, it takes like 10 seconds to get to a room, but if I was like in another company like further down, like it could probably take like minutes. So it's like really nice having Brianna here. Yeah, I guess that's basically it. I mean, there's a lot, but that's it.
Do you have to salute Brianna when you see her?
Oh no, not yet.
She technically has to call me Miss Nelson, ma'am.
Yeah.
But I don't make her do that because that's really weird.
Yeah, it's cringy. It's like weird when I hear my friends, like if I'm like with Brianna and then I'm like with my friends and then they're in the hallway, like all like braced up and then like, good afternoon, Miss Nelson, ma'am. And I'm just like sitting there like, it's so cringy. But yeah.
I got called ma'am the other day at work by someone my age also, so I get it. It feels weird. I'm not a ma'am.
I get like ma'am too. Like people think I'm an upperclassman sometimes. Like when you're walking the hallways, it's like confusing, but like 4th class, like freshman, you have to like stay braced up and like square around the building. So it's like very obvious that you're 4th class, but like sometimes going down the stairs, people mistake me for an upperclassman and they're like, good afternoon, ma'am. And then I'm just like, I can't respond because I can't talk. So it's like awkward, but it's like, oh, thanks for calling me ma'am. Like
Brianna, how many push-ups did you have to do? Alina.
Oh.
Well, unfortunately, push-ups are not my strong suit, but so it's like the push-ups are like at a cadence. So it's like down, 1, up, or like it's like that kind of thing. So like it's a lot of like just like holding there, and like I really honestly did not prep for the push-ups. So I only did 25, but we had to do a plank, and I maxed the plank, which I got 4 minutes and 15 seconds for that. And I was dying. Like I had like sweat like coming out. I was like, and I like felt pain I've never felt before. But so it was just the push-ups and plank. And then our run is during our spring break. I don't know if you've heard also our spring break is really lame. Like we can't even leave. So we're gonna spend it here at the academy. So we'll be doing the run then. But yeah, I only did 25, which I usually get like in the 30s, but like there's like a point where like I'm not gonna cheat myself. Like if I know I ain't going at a 90-degree angle, I ain't gonna count it. So I just stopped.
Who can do the most push-ups out of the sisters, you think?
Definitely not me.
I'd probably say Victoria. I'd say
If I
Victoria.
I would be able to do it, but yes, push-ups are not the Nelson girls.
No, we ain't got that upper body strength, unfortunately.
Are there minimums that every cadet has to satisfy or exceed? Yeah.
Yeah, so like technically to graduate, you have to get a 200 score. However, so yeah, 200. But like within each category, like you can get like a certain, like if you get like 1 push-up, I guess, and like max the plank and max the run, maybe you could have like a 200 passing score. But yeah, there's like kind of ranges you should be hitting. But as long as you pass, like you're good. Like, I mean, some people don't pass, but it's not too bad, to be honest.
What's the run? Is it a mile or?
It's 1.5 miles, so it's a little bit more. Yeah. And we run it like in the past, Brianna Victoria ran it on like this, like, I don't even know the distance. It's like half a track. I don't know, like 400. But now we run it like in the like a normal track size. So like 6 laps equals 1.5 miles. But then like how Brianna Victoria the past 3 years running it, it was like 13 or like 13.5 laps, which like mentally I'd be like confused at lap 8. So I'm glad it's just like 6 laps, like because I did the 11 or the 13 lap one when I was doing prep school, and I think I did like an extra lap. So I'm like, I cannot count when I'm running. So I'm glad it's just like 6 laps because I can count to 6, but I don't know about that 13.
What will be your summer like this year?
So yeah, actually like 2 months ago, we actually got to put down like kind of where we wanted to go. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Brianna Victoria, what they talked about, but essentially we're going to go to like a station. We're going to go on Eagle, the thing I mentioned before. I think Eagle's like 5 weeks, and then you do a summer station, or you do summer station then Eagle. So I really wanted to do the station first and then go to Eagle. So it's like stations could be like Boston, California, I don't know, Louisiana. I don't know. I'm very unfamiliar. That's like the plan for the summer. They're gonna come out with what we're gonna be able to go and stuff in like 2 months, I think. So like I'll know in 2 months like kind of where I'm going. I'm honestly just gonna get wherever I go, I'll go. Like I'm just so new to this that like any experience will be really like cool. So yeah.
Lena, share where Eagle's going this summer.
Oh yeah, so like there's like this thing called phase 1, phase 2. So I chose phase 2 because like I wanted to go to my station first if I can get that. But phase 1 is going to like Florida or Bermuda. I don't know. Somewhere I got thrown off. I was like, okay, whatever, because I got so attracted by phase 2 because it said Ireland. So I was like, oh yes. So I really want to go there. That'd be super cool. Like it's probably gonna be cold, like Brianna mentioned. Or Brianna was like, Alina, it's probably gonna be cold. I was like, I gotta go to Ireland. So like I ain't trying to go to Florida. Like I want to go to Ireland. So that'd be super cool if I could, experience that.
Okay, great. All right, I think I've crossed all the names off my list other than the siblings, and I'm not sure. I think it was probably a good idea to have the kids go first. I'm not sure we have a whole lot to offer at this point, but if anybody else want to comment or throw any ideas or?
I'd like to hear about life in Egan in the age of COVID.
You really don't want to?
You're looking at it. This has been our life. There's no place to go. No place.
Did you guys pick up any new hobbies?
Yeah, right.
Bicycling.
Oh yeah, I just want you to know that I did get an electric bike this summer, and that's awesome.
Yeah, I have one of those too.
We're ready for Ragra then.
Yeah, right. Next round. Do we know if that's happening
We've
again?
been playing pretty low. This summer we did some outdoor dining, and I was able to play golf, and it was more normal than what we're dealing with now. We haven't done any indoor dining whatsoever. It's loosened up a little bit in Minnesota just recently, but we've been having the big chase of our life trying to find vaccines, and we're in the process now of getting that taken care of. So we're at least happy about that. But we've taken winter vacations each of the last 4 or 5 years, and didn't have the opportunity to do that this year. So we're playing it pretty close to the vest and staying around home. We babysat for Brad's dog for a couple of weeks. That was always exciting, as they were kind of moving here from Chicago and helping them get moved in and all that. We had a lot of wedding gifts that have been in our house for a while, from both Brian's wedding and from Brad's as well, and still have Brian's. So, but yeah, we did some biking this summer, and nothing too terribly interesting other than that.
We've taken some cooking classes, or I should say, we have taken some classes with Kevin Casey. No.
Kasem.
Kevin, no.
Gavin Kasem.
Gavin Kasem, who's James Beard guy. Brian had gotten us 5 lessons, so we're on lesson number 4 this Wednesday.
And of course, everybody that's on this call was invited to a wedding that we had in October, and then you were uninvited. And so maybe you want to just give a brief update on how that went?
Yeah, the video was lovely that you guys sent out.
Yeah, I don't know if you were able to see some of the pictures. It was very nice. Small attendance, but nobody got sick, which we were very happy and grateful for, kind of thing. That was our biggest worry going into this thing, really questioning whether even having 50, 75 people was smart. But all the pictures were basically taken outside. If you were inside, you had to be masked, 4 people to a table. And, if you went and got food, you put a mask on. If you moved around, you get, So it was different, you know, it was sad not to have any family members or any of our friends there, you know, so it was truly just Brad and Kate, or Brian and Tasha's friends, and that's the way it should be, so. But we missed having our connections there. They're happily married, good couple.
That's about all you're going to get from Egan.
How many different kinds of birds have you seen?
Are you talking to Corey now?
I'm talking to you.
Today?
No, I mean, what's your total species count? I mean, you get 10 different kinds of birds?
I don't know if we're getting 10 different species. Maybe 5. I don't know. I don't.
He fills the bird feeder, and that's the extent of his birding. Okay, come on.
Well, during commercials, you can see the bird feeders, right?
We can see, we've had turkeys and deer and, you know, all those lovely creatures.
Yeah, you sound like you have a healthier relationship with the birds than it seems like Emily and our parents do. I think a lot when I was in Denver over the summer, Dad was walking around like someone that you need to call the police on in the bathroom.
Oh, with his little pellet gun? Yeah.
Causing, you know, you could see mothers shielding their children and telling them to stay away from that house. You know, very disturbing.
They have one less species out there.
The
Squirrel.
Squirrels.
Yes, we could use that on some squirrels. We have plenty of squirrels.
I did have to tell Mark that he could not go out there with his slingshot because all of these parents with their little kids come by to see the bunny house. There's this mean old man that does walk around. Sometimes
Get off my lawn.
with his slingshot.
And bunnies like this.
Oh my God.
Oh, they're like this.
Corey, how about giving us a teaching update? How are you faring with your classes and your students?
I mean, I live in this room, you know.
Oh,
This
wow.
That's where I spend 12 hours a day, it seems like. But I generally have good attendance, and about 2.5 hours a day are synchronous, and then the rest is asynchronous. And I try to give feedback on every activity that my students do to keep them engaged, and the credit really goes to the parents who have been willing to do the heavy lift of co-teaching at home. So I feel like considering what we're dealing with, it's been a pretty successful year. And when we go back, I don't know. I think the plan is to get teachers vaccinated, and I'm happy to go back, but I probably won't be with my class because there are just so many considerations that have to be made. You're going to have parents who, even though they're allowed to send their kids to school, they won't. And some of my parents might want to keep their kids at home, and so I could get just a mix of different students, and you're probably going to have an A group and a B group because you can't have everybody there at the same time because there's not enough room to have safe distancing. So it's going to be complicated. It's not just as easy as just getting the teachers vaccinated and pushing everybody in. It's going to be a kind of a mess, but it's probably going to happen. And I understand, I have a lot of the parents of my students are essential workers and either working at hospitals or working in retail. And I know it's really tough because I have kids who turn in assignments at 10:30 at night. But part of the reason I do the asynchronous part is parents want to be involved. They want to help their kids. And if that means, I have this one mom, she gets home at 10:30 and then she goes over her kids' work before she goes to bed. I had a little talk with the dad who's at home all day about that. That conversation didn't go so well. The dad actually, we were having a parent teacher conference and the dad got up and walked away.
Wow.
But
in these synchronous sessions with the kids, how do you find the best way, like especially now, months of Zoom fatigue, so on and so forth, of just keeping them engaged? Like, you know, you get the sensitive positive part of the day where they can see their friends and be part of
Sure,
it?
yeah. I mean, I think it's important to do breakout rooms so they can talk in smaller groups. And so that's part of it. And, you know, I try to incorporate a lot of music and fun videos. And then, you know, I go over what the asynchronous activities are going to be, and I try to make those as interesting as possible. And I try to be available. So if you know, if students need to talk to me one-on-one about something, we do Google Meet, and I have a code, and they can just pop on anytime. And, you know, then we talk about whatever issues it's amazing, because for first graders, it's amazing what they can do. I have them read a lot of digital content, and they do iPad has a really easy way to do a screencast. So they'll do a screencast of themselves reading a book, and then they send it to me, and I give them feedback on it. And they're good at sharing. If they have a problem with an activity, they know how to share their screen with me. So it's pretty amazing. I think there's been a lot of learning, you know, on both sides, on all sides, really, the parents and the kids and you know, teachers who are thinking about retiring have figured out a lot about technology and how to leverage it, and not just use technology for technology's sake. So it's really been eye-opening for me, and it's been eye-opening for the parents. And I feel like I have a very different relationship with the parents this year than in previous years. So there's a lot of good that's come out of it. And I just think a lot of people are kind of in that zone of leveraging the moment. And I think that's a good place to be.
Corey, have most of your students have the appropriate devices and Wi-Fi connections that they can?
You know, the year before, so in 2019, so I'm in a 10 school district. They're all elementary schools, and K through 3 received iPads in 2019. And then 4 through 6 received Chromebooks. The iPads have been magnificent. There have been a lot of problems with the Chromebooks, but the iPads have just been amazing. And you know, they each have a keyboard that goes with their iPad, but most of the time they don't use that. They just use the iPad itself, and they become, I mean, they're just, my kids are really industrious, imaginative, and it just, they really blow my mind, you know. One of my kids taught me how to do screencasting with my iPad, and so I use it a lot to push content out there. And so it's really been, I mean, it's been tough in so many ways, but this year has really been remarkable too. So.
Okay, good, thanks, good stuff.
And mother-in-law, happy birthday. And thank you for welcoming me into this clan. You all have been just wonderful. I feel like, you know, I just feel when I see your faces and hear your stories, I feel like I'm home.
Thank you.
Nice. Well, I can finish out the office on Laurel Ridge Road that's on the first floor. That'd be me. And is that all right, MC? Should I go next?
Go for it.
Okay. All right. So the pandemic didn't change my work life much because I had already been remote working for a couple of years with the organization I've worked for 20 years, Kids Included Together. So we were already pretty familiar with how to meet virtually and communicate virtually. But what I wanted to share today in kind of a family reunion way were some things I've learned during the pandemic instead of talking about my work life. So this is a way to share with the younger kids. I'm sorry, some of them are gone for some of these fascinating observations.
Hey, you're frozen, Mom.
Carter did it on purpose.
I want to hear this, Carter.
Corey looks
so weird.
frozen too. Oh no, he's not.
Dad's
Corey, he's the tech.
I'm gonna shut this down. So
Corey's stealing Wi-Fi.
Just have mom come upstairs.
Oh,
I guess it's the other way around.
Oh, he left.
That woman some bandwidth.
He was doing fine.
This is one of the big lessons of the pandemic.
Oh, there she is.
She's back. She's back.
Okay, let me get my full screen. Wait.
You got to start your speech at the beginning.
That's okay. We can start where you were, Mom.
Okay, where was I? Oh, sharing things. Okay, so what I've learned during the pandemic is I don't have to go to Fantastic Sam's and get my $15 haircut. I've just been growing my hair since the pandemic. It's been much better. You can do that too. I've learned, and this was very recent, that 2 large pizzas can serve Corey and myself for 4 consecutive days, lunch. So the cooking skills have suffered a little at this point in the pandemic, but that was, we just finished those up this past week. I've learned that our neighborhood, we have an active neighborhood early on in the pandemic. Some of you may know, my children do, that I was tracking as people would walk by, run by, cycle by, walk a dog, have kids, wear a mask. I'd just keep a little tally and I'd get to over 100 tallies. And I was doing this on my employer's time, but I was incorporating it into my regular responsibilities. It's worth the effort.
Wait, Mom, you were just marking like one person, you'd do a tally.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you have like
We're-
different groups, like to see
Well,
if
wait a
masks
Corey.
won first or bikers won first? Were you trying to achieve a certain number?
Yes, I was trying to be able to provide backup because I would talk about this a lot, that I was hitting, that at least 100 people in my neighborhood were active. So I was always trying to at least get to 100 and then I would stop. So I realized, as many of you already know, that it's worth the effort to stay in touch with your childhood friends and your college friends, because during the pandemic, we communicated a little more than usual, but it was really always joyful to be able to do that. I realized that the payment protection program had a lot of value because the nonprofit I worked for was able to get a $450,000 loan, and that likely prevented 8 people from being laid off. And then that loan was forgiven. So that taxpayer dollar did make a lot of difference for the organization I work for. I learned that when I get out, I already knew this, you all already know this, when you exercise, fresh ideas come to you. And it's a very helpful thing to do, to get off your chair and get out there and move. And we learned our best friend, our dog, unfortunately got a bad diagnosis of cancer in the spring. And but he's beating all odds like he always would. Those of you that know him, he's still wants to play fetch, and our vet's very surprised he's still with us. And we think now that rather than cancer in this lump on his throat, he actually has a goiter. So we have no medical backup of this, but this is just our assessment.
A what?
A goiter.
What's that?
It's an unpleasant lump that grows, Goiter, I believe, but we'll debrief on that later.
Got to give him some iodine.
We might try.
Let him eat salt, iodized salt.
Yep.
But he's still interested in playing fetch, so we're very grateful for all these extra days we're getting. And finally, I've become aware of something that's a little disturbing to me and the children. It's called mixed tile madness. And if any of you are familiar with what mixed tiles are, they're advertised on social media, and it's a way to get your photos. You send in your photos. They convince you that you should decorate this way with all of your photos. They reproduce them to an 8x8, put them in a frame, and they're easy to hang. And so Corey has made a number of orders throughout the pandemic of mixed tiles. I think if you noticed in his office scan, he had several hanging up there. And I wanted to share with you his most recent order to give you an idea of why this is becoming concerning. So this is one of the mixed tiles. This is nice. This is Mother and the children at Peterson, Iowa, at the Prairie at the Heritage Center. This was taken a few years back. This is something you might, put on your wall. And this was in his recent batch. And then there was this one. This is Corey showing off a Christmas gift he got from the kids. So this was in the recent order. And these are, to hang on your wall. And then this one I like. This is me and the kids at Thanksgiving looking nice and festive. Claire's got the mashed potatoes there. This is good. And then there was this one. And this is a picture of Corey's Costco membership card. This is his picture on the card that he has now turned into a mixed tile.
That's going in your office, isn't it?
Yeah, he thought I might like it. It does make me laugh, I must admit. It is kind of funny. But I was happy with the Costco card size. And then this is, of course, the favorite family member at the beach. He loves to play fetch. So this one's good. We like this one. And then to close out this batch, we got this one. So,
Claire, there's for you.
I've already taken mine.
All the children have been offered mixed tiles when they arrive at the home, and they.
I haven't.
Well,
what is this? I didn't even know about any of this.
Well, that order, you haven't been home since Dad ordered this.
This one's for you, Carter.
No, I'm good.
Print a whole new set for you.
So I will say Corey was an early adopter of Amazon deliveries, very early on before the pandemic. He would just order a single shaving cream can, which upset my Midwestern sensibilities, but he has taken it to another level with the mixed tile. So I hope they quit sending him discounts, or who knows what he'll have printed next. So that's the update from Laurel Ridge Road.
$69 for 12. You can't beat it.
How can I order one of those that Corey at Costco thing? I want one of those.
You want one of those? I'll send one to you. It'll be there in a week. You want this one as well?
No, I don't want that one. I want the other one.
I mean, it's a nice idea if you're going to do a trip or have a consistent theme, maybe.
Well, the consistent theme is Dad's selfies, Mom. So
yeah.
Good report, Sarah.
I'm going next, Steve.
Huh?
I'm going next because I'm not going to be last. Okay, here's the deal. Young people, I don't have any advice for you, but I'll tell you one thing. I'm proud of hearing all you guys. It's very impressive. And I know we're here to honor the elder member, but good job for you guys. This has been tough being the young people out there. So as for me, I was working at home before COVID started. Brad has noted that he did not tell his employer he was working at home. I told my employer, and I'm still waiting for them to say something. No, just joking. I've been at VA about, I guess, 24, 25 years already. And our COVID life really, because a lot of my life anyway revolves around work still, unlike my older brothers, I didn't invest wisely, I guess. But we're pretty, I was working at home before COVID hit, and we're just pretty much going with the flow. And, we get out, we do pay attention to exercising, and we eat out once in a while, and we do little meetups with people, but nothing too spectacular. Boy, it's been pretty the time's gone pretty quickly, really, from my perspective. I can't say we've suffered a lot of trauma or anything. I mean, one bright spot was having the kids home for extra amount of time that normally wouldn't have happened, and that was pretty cool. I've spied on Carter a couple of times at church when he's been playing. So if you can get the link, that's kind of exciting. I'd like to spy on you other guys too. If you have any links or ideas, please let me know. So, I'll let my wife say something, right?
Well, happy birthday, Grandma Polly. 90s. Just like Dave said, we during the pandemic, life didn't really change much for me, at least. But we've been trying to take a walk around our area, like a state park or any opportunity we have. We like to take a walk and I don't do longer walks, but maybe if it's a maximum of 1 hour, I'll do it. So I think going out there and taking a walk and things like that, help us, stronger and healthier. So it's been nice. So I guess there's somebody out there in the doorway, but
it was interesting too, seeing Zach's picture of the deserted Bologna, because I have gone downtown a couple of times, well, once, I guess, and it's really eerie. I mean, just seeing how it was really a ghost town. And I had to go down there to get my new ID card, and I just kind of went down there, and usually I would have walked around the White House a few times and stuff, but I just kind of got out of there. It was kind of a weird feeling. If I was a little younger and more fleet of foot, maybe I would have stayed more, but but hopefully, Zach, if you come here in the summer, it'll be a little bit better and you can take us to some fancy places in Georgetown or something. And
I look forward to being close. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
be good.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that's no new hobbies.
Mark, anything you want to report on from Denver?
Yeah, Margaret is helping Ed right now, but I think, as all of you know, we're living in Margaret's childhood home here in Denver. She moved in 1964, I believe. It's a 110-year-old house on a park right in the middle of Denver. It's a wonderful place, although it does have some leaky pipes and squeaky floors and things like that. But we are here, and in a lot of ways, COVID has been kind of easy for us, because what it meant is Ed, who's 94 and a half years old, we had full-time sort of daylight caregivers who were here, who would help with the getting up in the morning and, getting ready to go to bed at night. And we sent them all home about a year ago because of COVID. And so Margaret and I now have a full-time, low-intensity job of looking after Ed. So we had our last restaurant meal, I think, a year ago tomorrow, when a friend from Hong Kong was visiting, a friend who went back to Hong Kong and promptly got COVID, although not a serious case, and he's okay. But we have a big back terrace here that opens onto a park, and the weather in Denver, kind of as a surprise to me, I mean, it's incredibly mild here. And it does get cold, a couple weeks in the winter, but it's sunny 310 days a year. And so we do a lot of gathering on the outside, on the back porch with friends who, the hardy ones, come over and, have a cup of tea, or sometimes we have sandwiches. And so that's kind of the way we've been interacting with people in the neighborhood. We've done a lot of Zoom calls, as the rest of you had. I started a little book group with 3 of my good buddies from law school, all of whom I had kind of stayed in touch with, but they hadn't stayed in touch with one another too much. And so I think we're on book 6 now. Every month we get together, a guy in Chicago, a woman in New York, and a guy in Florida. And Zoom is perfect for a little reading group like that, because the 4 people are on the screen, and it works really well. But it's gone fine for us. Margaret got her first shot the other day. Ed has had both of his shots. I'm still only 64, so I'm waiting, but it seems like the dam is about to burst in terms of vaccine supply around the country. So I'm sure I'll get my shots before too long. We have done, like Steve mentioned, Steve and Marcia, we had been doing quite a lot of traveling in the pre-care and pre-COVID era. And we do have a trip on the books. So we're going to drive with 3 friends to Santa Fe in September. We haven't canceled that one yet. But that's the only plan that we have to go anywhere. We are very keen to get Emily back here. She has not been to Denver, and we have not seen her in person for more than a year now. We had the great pleasure of having Zach in Airbnbs in the neighborhood for a number of weeks this summer, and then he was down in Taos, New Mexico, so not too far away. So we've seen a bit of him, and it's been great to see the kids on, WhatsApp and Zoom calls and the like. But Margaret, you want to add anything?
Well, my only observation is that moving back into my mother's kitchen, the other day I was looking around because it just feels like there's so much stuff, and I realized that when the kitchen was renovated, it had been a 1910 kitchen, and it had exactly 1 light bulb that was a 25-watt light bulb, because they had a maid and a cook, and they really didn't care what the kitchen was like. And then my mom had it updated and renovated in 1970. And for the many years, the only 3 items plugged into the kitchen were a blender, a toaster, and a Sunbeam mixer, which you probably all remember what those were like. And now, there's a microwave, a Cuisinart, the mixer, the blender, the toaster. There are various phones and computers charging. There's a TV plugged in, and I'm just thinking, what a different life. We just have so many devices that have enhanced our life, I think, to some extent, but sometimes I really wonder if it's all that, it makes all that much difference in our life. Although I do like my espresso machine. That was, Mark is very disapproving of things like, the espresso machine, particularly the ones with the capsules. But I tell you, the greatest joy every day, besides of course waking up and seeing Mark, is pouring myself a bit of espresso with a little dot of whipped cream or cream, and I'm in heaven. So that's my pandemic life.
Hey, happy birthday, Mom. I wrote Mom a letter the other day, which I'm gonna have Margaret read.
Okay, then you
Come here. You come and read it, and I'll get Ed out. Ed's in the bathroom right now. So Margaret can read it. Just the 5 bullet points.
Okay, this was a letter that Mark sent to Polly, and I am thankful to you, my mother, for the following. Love. I always knew my mother loved me, that I always had a place to go, that I'd always be welcome. Freedom. It was not a smothering or overprotective love, but a love that let me explore, burn my fingers, and still know I could come home. Love on a long leash. Security. You always made me feel you had my back. I might make mistakes and might get punished for them, but I always had my place at home. Never was there any doubt about this. Pride. You always made me feel you were proud of me. You showed interest in what I was doing or planning, and always made me feel like my plans were worthy ones. This builds confidence in a boy and is energizing. Template. I feel like my ability to be a good husband and father rests on my own happy and uber interesting childhood. So it is the gift that keeps on giving. And
Nice.
I can attest to that.
Very nice.
Very good.
And I think you all
I
did.
will- Polly, I will say that you raised a son who I don't think anyone who has known it through the years has ever said he was one of the more patient human beings on this planet. But I can tell you, in dealing with our, as he said, low intensity job, he has demonstrated extraordinary patience. So thank you.
Good quality patience. I'm not sure he got patience from me, but a tribute, and the fact that you all, he refers to you male heads of household, I guess, have been, I think, exemplary. And maybe, you know, that comes from the generation above you. That would be me and your father. So keep it going. I got to mention my third grade birthday experience, but really, if you had asked me what the most exciting thing that would be happening to me this week, besides this, of course, is that I got my shot yesterday. My vaccine, I'm among the vaccinated, and it wasn't easy. As soon as they let the 65 and over people in, I lost any kind of credibility or seniority that I had. Is sort of the way it works. But a friend of a friend, it was kind of a fluky thing. So I'm very, very pleased that yesterday my left arm isn't sore yet. So that's my vaccine report, and it's truly a highlight. It's such a mundane thing, isn't it, to be happy about? So hope you all, those of you that have had it, there are Sarah and Corey who had the guinea pig thing early on, but didn't know they were immune, right? You don't have to be vaccinated, do you? Now, again, I mean,
No.
vaccinated. So thanks for this, great. And the traffic controller, Steve, very,
We have one more thing we have to do though, officially, before we
oh,
bid adieu here.
not seeing.
Huh?
It's gonna go well.
You have to stay.
We're gonna try to sing happy birthday.
Okay, good luck.
Dave is gonna lead?
Yes.
Okay.
Carter runs. Okay,
You want me to give you a key on the piano?
please.
Please.
I'm serious.
Well,
Indeed. Or you could play the song if you want.
I've heard people Zoom this song together, and it is ridiculous.
Well, the young people know that you used to call and then play the song. So.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday.
In Italian, Zach.
Buon Natale.
Could you even hear it?
You weren't there for it. So I'll have to sing it for you.
Could you hear it?
We'll do it together here, and I'll on three. Let's give her a nice round, rousing happy birthday. So 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Grandma.
Happy birthday to you. That wasn't such a good idea, but you get the gist of what we're trying to say, Mom. So
Kind of. Do you want to do it again when you're practiced? No, I'm kidding.
I don't think
That was our
Gotta
second
get any
time.
better.
That
That
already
was our
the
second and last time.
Maybe next year on the same day.
Yes.
In person.
Yeah,
Posting her.
If I'm not here, sing it anyway, okay?
you're gonna be there.
Of course.
All
We
right,
love you,
well,
Gma.
Bye.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Thanks for everybody.
birthday,
participation. Yeah, happy birthday, Mom.
Love you.
Love you guys.
It
was good seeing everyone.
Beautiful. There's more, but we don't have time. There's one that's so heavy that I could not carry it in here. It said from the family. I don't know who was behind that, but
big
I
family.
literally could not carry it. So if you could go to the kitchen, which you can't do. Anyway, thanks.
Sounds like Uncle Dave.
I'll be tallying squirrels today, Sarah.
Report
Oh,
back.
Got it.
Good job, Steve. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, thank
Thank you so much, Uncle Steve.
Hi, Emily.
Everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Good to see you.
Love you all.
Love you all. Happy birthday. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Happy
Bye.
birthday, Polly.
Doing some planks. See you later.
Bye
Victoria,
now.
she's gone. When's cousin Ragbri?
She's gone.
I think the leadership all deserted, right?
Okay.
Running backwards now from the
It
Mississippi.
would be fun to talk to everybody singly sometime.
That's
And
I'll
I
give you a call. Yeah.
I have.
I'll call you this week, Juma.
Okay, well, you can just stay on now if you want to.
I can't right now,
You've got a
but
commitment. I hear you. Okay.
Yeah, I'll give you a call sometime soon.
but I will call you.
Well, for those that don't know, Claire's birthday is tomorrow. So
Hey.
I knew.
So I'll see you again tomorrow for my group Zoom.
Yeah, are we hosting a Zoom again?
tomorrow. Yeah.
Anecdotes
I hope
for
you've all
Claire.
prepared something nice about me.
Favorite
So
memories?
thank you.
The big tooth.
Well,
fairy?
actually, Grandma and I spent our birthdays together 2 years ago, and it was wonderful.
It was cold.
It was cold.
It was.
Mom and I stayed a couple more days than planned.
Yeah.
Oh, I do
Had a
remember this.
surprise visit. You guys, your plane got canceled.
Yeah.
Right.
That was a great detour. That was a lot of fun.
That
Come
was
on
fun.
through. Come on through. We're still
Denver
here.
detour. Yeah.
I would love to.
Corey, have you
Would
sent
be
me
nice.
that picture yet?
It's
You mailed me a hard copy yet?
Don't joke, he's gonna do it.
already on the
Boy,
way.
I
It's
actually-
already on the way.
The other one.
No,
Costco one.
you can't have that one. You can have this one.
Yes.
That is the creepiest picture.
That's a good idea. I like that.
What is that like? That's before the fall and that other picture is after the fall?
Yeah. Exactly. There is a concern here.
And I just keep falling.
What's on your head in that picture?
I think we could
It
cancel.
was one of the Amazon package wrap.
Okay.
Why?
Why? Because this.
That is crazy.
I think we could post that Costco one on the back porch and we could cancel our burglar alarm.
That would do it.
Or come see him in person.
You see me in person.
He's vaccinated.
I'm vaccinated and I know how to smile.
You guys are looking great. I like your COVID looks.
Thank you.
I feel you, Aunt Sarah, on the quarantine hair.
Yeah. Are you going to cut it out when you can or not?
I mean, I have 3 roommates that could do it for me, but like I need like this much just hacked off. So eventually, maybe I'll just see how long I can get it
Yeah.
at this point.
I know.
I tried the same thing. Didn't work out so well.
Can I donate for the wig? Like 6 inches, not quite yet.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna have to go a little bit longer for that, Mama.
It's probably poor quality anyway. So,
I think they buy that by the pound, right?
so Dave, what are you and Esther up to today, the rest of the day and tomorrow?
Well, I'm an usher at church tomorrow.
Okay.
They still have physical. It's very every other pew and spaced out and stuff. So it's very socially distant or whatever. I guess maybe, I don't know, maybe 100 people show up, I guess.
You have to like sign up to go in, or
Used to. And now they expanded it out, and but it's in Virginia, any inside building is masked, but maybe that's almost everywhere, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's everywhere now.
But
Well, we've been streaming. I mean, we
Remote.
haven't gone to church
Yeah.
physically for last like 7 weeks, maybe.
Yeah.
You know,
But you're going tomorrow.
Yeah,
I'm not. He's
You're
going.
not, okay.
a couple of times we've gone there and walked, and Carter, at yours, do they have people there?
No, not really. Sometimes there'll be like 2 people there that are either family members of one of the performers, but yeah, it's usually just the performers, the pastor, and then someone that's working like the mixer and the video in the back.
Now, I haven't watched the last few weeks, but do you stay for the sermon?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So you guys have an opening set and then it's closing, right? Or
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have an opening set and then we'll do one closing song. Exactly. Yep.
What is the instrumentation?
It depends, but lately it's been drums, bass, keyboard, and the MD is the keyboardist and singer, lead singer. Then we have percussionist, which is really fun. He's really good. And then a guitarist, electric guitarist, acoustic guitarist as well.
Oh, wow. It's a big
Yeah.
band.
so even in those clubs and bars that you live nearby, is there any form of entertainment going on?
No.
So absolute
Not
zero.
that Yeah, not that I know of. I don't think so.
I mean, they're not even serving alcohol
Yeah, all of our bars here are
unless they
closed.
have an outside
Yes.
patio. Yeah.
But do guys go to parking lots of high schools or whatever, or like do people have like get on a cherry picker or something and play, or not?
Well,
that
that's funny because actually have been some artists that are doing like, I guess, I don't know if they're
Car concerts?
yeah,
pop-ups.
art concerts.
Yeah, I've heard of those, like drive-in concerts, kind of, right?
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Right.
Drive-in concert. Yeah. So,
Car
but
concert.
you have that. I think that's tough for like a small band in like the smaller groups. If you're like a bigger artist or a medium-sized artist, you could probably pack a big parking lot or something. But yeah.
Do you
Other
take
than that,
your
I don't.
drums to church?
What was that? Do I
Are
have to
those
bring-
your drums at church?
No, it's
Oh.
really nice. They just have everything there, which is almost never the case with every other gig. So I just have to show up with drumsticks, which is really, really nice because usually I have to bring drums.
Can I be heard? I've lost my screen.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we can hear you,
Gemma.
And I see you too.
Yeah.
Oh, you do? Well, must be me. I had a question. Now I can't remember what it was of one of those people. I'm not going to try to get my face back, however.
I see you.
Yeah, we can see you. I think.
Okay, well, enjoy. I signed off once. I'm still signing off.
Oh, did you just minimize the screen?
Or did you put speaker
No,
view or something?
The screen changed in front of my eyes, and I haven't really tried getting back on, and I could, I think, by
See
getting.
the word view in the upper right-hand corner somewhere.
But I'll keep. Here I go. Another Zoom meeting. Okay.
That's yours.
Some of you are still awake. Yeah. Okay. Well, I enjoyed listening, and I had a question for either him or him because they were talking, or her. But anyway.
Well, I have a question, Emily, for you again.
Yeah.
Can you tell us again about, so somebody can come to you? I'm just kind of interested in what's open across America, but so someone can come into the museum and maybe hall A and B are open?
Yeah, so right now we're at 40% capacity. And in the past, if you got a ticket, you can come in anytime. But now you have to get a timed entry ticket.
Wow.
And you have to show up for that time. And once you're in, you can stay as long as you want. And then we have 2 special exhibitions open right now, a Monet show and Basquiat, who's a street artist. And for that, you need to buy a separate ticket. And that is also timed. So those galleries are limited.
Are people, is there a demand? I mean, do people want to come?
Yeah, everything's sold out. And I was shocked at how busy it's been, honestly. But I think people are just, as everyone's kind of attested to here, stir crazy. And just being able to be inside another building elsewhere when it's so cold is kind of nice.
Somebody goes to that museum, can they do something afterwards, like get a coffee or whatever?
So in the past, we used to have cafes like in the museum. Those are ones open, but I think it's all takeaway food. And theoretically, I think you can sit and eat it if you feel comfortable, like in our big open gallery or big open atrium. So I think that's up to you. But if you're in the museum, you must be masked. So I find it's a little inconvenient. If you want to eat, I would do it not in the museum personally. And that's just an added fun. I mean, the museum wants the money, but I was like, that's just more expense. So
Well,
no,
when
but
we
it's been
used to go to
interesting.
museums, that was mostly what I did, was kind of a coffee.
Yeah, well, the food is good. It is good, but we in March or April or May, I forget, we let go our entire like cafeteria staff, and I think most of them have not come back at this point.
Have you ever been downtown to the heart, or what's the heart of Boston? Is it that Fennell Square or whatever?
Yeah, so there's Faneuil Hall and then Boston Common, which I think I went with the Courons a couple springs ago after the wedding. So Boston Common Public Garden, which is the way I describe it, it's kind of like a mini Central Park, just to kind of give you an idea of what it is. So my old job before this one was right there. So I used to go to downtown like every day. And since the pandemic, I've been downtown maybe 2 times, maybe 3 times. And it's weird. And just like the train ride there is weird because there's 2 people on the train, and that used to be like this, like a sardine on the train. And then just people are now, or in the summer more so, there were more people around because it was warmer. But people are out and about and walking, but it's not nearly to the levels it was. And the tourist levels are down, obviously.
Yeah, that was my experience on Metro when I went into DC. I
Mhm.
was like looking around like,
It's just weird, yeah, to be the only one on a train.
Imagine being like crammed in again. It sounds.
I don't
so
think I'll be able to.
horrible, you know?
Right? And like I was so used to it. I was very accustomed to not having a seat. I was accustomed to standing like this and like someone right here. So it'll be weird if and when that ever comes back, because I think a lot of people will stay remote for a while even after. So yeah, and our just to continue talking, the train I take in has a really difficult schedule, and with the pandemic they've let go a lot of people, so the schedule is even worse. So getting to work sometimes is a little tough because I can get in either like 2 hours early or 30 minutes late. So it's sometimes I have to pick and choose, which is kind of frustrating.
Well, you're taking Lyft and Uber.
Occasionally I'll take Lyft, or I have, as I said, I do live with 3 other people and they have cars. I do not. So if they're feeling awfully kind, they will give me a lift. But they're all working remote. So if they want a break, they're happy to do it too.
Claire, I have something for you too. I wanted to know if you're in touch with your old school in China and if they're running full steam ahead.
Good question. My roommate, it still lives there with her husband, and they've stayed there the whole time. Bye-bye. Okay.
Taking a birthday call.
Okay. But I don't actually know what the status of schools is. She moved schools, so she started working out of college. So the last update I got from her, which was months ago, they were doing virtual, but I know kind of at the height of at one of the first peaks of the pandemic for them, they were not allowed to leave their apartment complex. Like it was pretty, it was pretty strict, and I think I don't know if it was like police officers or government officials were like bringing groceries to people's doorsteps. So it was very, getting temperatures checked at grocery stores, stuff like that. So it was pretty different than it's been here, but I don't think they're back in person. It's kind of hard to say, but yeah, that's the last update I have from her.
I was going to forward you an article, but did you see the Coast Guard helped rescue 60 sea turtles?
I don't think I did.
Yeah, I guess they got stunned. The water was 35 or 36 degrees
Texas.
in some, I don't know what you call it. Maybe it was Gulf of Mexico. I don't know. But I guess they were just kind of sitting there, and the Coast Guard has what they call the rescue swimmers. And I guess a couple of them went out there with a helicopter unit and some other guys. And I don't think they were the only ones doing it, but it was kind of cool seeing it.
That is cool. That's not really something I think about with, wild animals. I just think, oh, they can probably adapt to, most temperatures. But that's cool.
And Coast Guard work can be diverse.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
Saving the animals.
Yeah. Well, I saw an interesting headline in our paper today, and I'm wondering if it's gonna, there is gonna be this abundance of vaccine, because I read 2 of our super stations this weekend have like 3,000 vaccines that nobody signed up for.
In California?
Yeah, in San Diego, yeah. And they do 5,000 a day, and they had this huge quantity, and I don't know, was it
But then they had another issue where they had to shut. It's been sporadic.
Yeah.
Because there have been other times when they were supposed to be open, they had to shut down because the vaccine that they thought they were going to get wasn't there. Then they end up with, too much on another day. So it's been difficult to gauge, but
I just thought 3,000 being available is significant, and maybe we're gonna start picking up some speed here.
Massachusetts has done a terrible job with vaccinations just across the board, which is kind of weird, because usually when people think of Massachusetts and Boston, they're like, oh yeah, like great state, great city, and it is. But I know people who have had issues with the website crashing, just like they go and show up for their appointment, it's not working. And like my boss, who's 65 plus, has tried 10 out of 10 times and can't get a slot. And it's just a nightmare over here.
Do you know which vaccination did you get, like Moderna or biotech or
here?
Did they tell you when you get?
I don't know.
Like a poly.
Moderna. I was told Moderna.
Moderna.
I had 2, I think, regular ones, Pfizer.
How about you, Sarah? Did you?
Pfizer.
Pfizer. How about you, Margaret?
I got Pfizer. My dad got Moderna. But when I got Dad his appointment, they told me then it would be Moderna. And when the University of Colorado Health called me, they said it will be a Pfizer vaccine. So we have no choice. I think here, judging by what our very friends have done who are eligible, it's a little like the Hunger Games. There are people who are registering 5 and 6 hours away in little pharmacies out on the plain, north of here, south of here, east of here. And, just every day checking all these different sites. And, we were quite fortunate. Dad, it took a little while with him, but finally Kaiser came through, and I didn't even try. I just figured, it's going to be whenever our life is not going to change that much anyway. But they got in touch with me right away. So I think if Sarah, you were saying there are going to be more and more vaccines available. And I know we've had some shutdowns of big mass vaccination sites here because of the delays in Kentucky and Tennessee with FedEx and UPS. And the vaccines have not made it here.
And a third of people that aren't going to take it is going to create availability too.
Yeah, no, that number is shrinking.
That's a military number that I saw recently. I don't know, I read that a third of the military are opting out.
It's not mandatory.
Right.
To volunteer. So my girls, they said, they didn't want to take it yet.
Well,
so,
it hasn't been available at the
yeah, they're not available yet. So although Victoria, the office, they already administer, vaccination, but she opted out. Bryce, same thing. So we don't know.
Yeah.
We'll wait for a one shot.
I mean, it's going to be mandatory for the military anyway, so it doesn't
Johnson
matter
and Johnson,
if they opt
maybe.
out. Yeah, I'll go for the one jab thing maybe, but it's already a lot of discussion about variants and all that. So who knows hopefully it's just the 2 shots, you know?
I think so. It seems like especially the mRNA vaccines seem like they do really well against the variants, according to, I know some Israeli research indicates that. And so I don't know. I think it's amazing how quickly they push these vaccines out. It's amazing the effectiveness of the vaccines. And I also think that even though right now you might have a third of people saying they don't want to take it, I think there's going to be there certainly will be a group of people who will not take it no matter what. But I also think you're going to reach a tipping point where, people are going to feel like so many people are vaccinated that it's not going to seem so daunting to get a vaccination, and they're not going to worry about the effects so much.
Yeah.
I mean, very few people have had, really negative side effects. So
True.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like, there have been how many vaccines administered now? 30 some million?
I think it's 52 or something.
52 million, and it's like under 1,000. The
Yeah.
number of reactions that range from everything from a rash to, anaphylactic shock and 2 or 3 deaths, but that's how low the numbers are.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
yeah,
Yeah, pretty good.
it's amazing, I think.
All right, we're coming for you, Mom. We'll be coming to Iowa soon.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're driving.
roasting ear schedules.
Are you guys planning a driving trip?
We've been talking about
Yeah.
it for June.
June?
Yeah.
June 9th is my last day, so we'll start out June 10th.
You're not retiring this year, are you?
God, I wish. No, I have to stay in the game a little bit longer, but I have to say that there are some days where I feel like I don't have any gas in the tank, so
Well,
we'll see.
Oh, it sounds grueling.
Yeah, you're really doing a lot for those kids,
Mm-hmm.
Corey. That's
Well, I'm giving it a go.
Saturdays and Sundays, you still are probably working.
I do. I do.
Prepping.
Because if I don't, then I end up with a very difficult week on my hands. I have to have content. I have to make sure that I've responded to all the students who did their Friday work, and sometimes they don't do their Friday work until Saturday. And so I've got to clear all that, clear the dockets in that way. And then I have to just prepare what I'm going to do for the live session and what I do for asynchronous. So it takes time.
Esther, has your mom got her shot?
She hasn't. Like, she's waiting. So she's waiting for. I think she's willing to get a shot. So, but it's not available for her. What?
California or Washington or where?
Washington State.
Fred got it, right?
But Fred got it. So she's I don't know. I can't really tell whether she wants it or not. But I think eventually she's gonna get a shot. But she's waiting on it. Yeah.
Well, for those that are coming to see me, March 19th, I get my second shot, so y'all come.
Right.
And we need to be vaccinated too.
Yeah.
And who knows when that will be.
I don't think we're not worried about catching it from you, Mom. We're worried about giving it to you.
To you, yeah.
I understand that, but didn't my statement reflect that?
Yeah.
My second shot, you all come and bring your COVID. I'm
Oh.
immune.
Well,
Right? Isn't that why I'm getting vaccinated, Mark?
No vaccine's that perfect.
I wish.
Well,
Okay, guys, I do actually have to run out. I have another call in 40 minutes. So
Yeah,
Dave
that's
Zoom.
40 minutes. You can do another 30.
I also have to eat lunch.
Okay. All right.
I'm sorry, but since I also have to leave. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
All right.
Happy early
but
birthday to Claire.
I love
Happy
you
birthday
all.
to Grandma.
Happy birthday, Gma.
All right, well,
I had left a while ago, so
Love you all.
we're out.
And
you too.
let's talk soon.
Talk soon. I would love to do this again.
I'm
Hey,
glad.
Bye,
Happy
everyone.
birthday, Claire.
Love you.
Carter,
Look, stay around and tell me about your books.
Who has
What?
the next
I want to ask
birthday?
Carter. I want to ask Carter about his Bitcoin account.
Wait till Sarah and Corey leave.
And
We
grandma.
already know, or we think we know, so.
Well, if there's anything in that account, it's good news.
Yeah, that's true. What do you want to know? I mean, it's
No,
as you know, you have some, right?
I got one.
See, I don't even have. I have like a 10th of one, maybe a 9th.
A ninth, okay. Well,
Still pretty nice, but but it's funny because I got into it like 3 years ago, but I bought and sold so much. If I had just never sold, I mean, it was like $3,000 at one point, a few years ago, and now it's 50,000. It's crazy, but
that's a good lesson. Buy and hold.
I know now that's what I'm doing.
Do very many of your friends buy and sell it?
My friends, not really. I have one buddy that got into it a couple years ago and just kind of been buying it every now and then, holding on to it. Yeah.
Do you have any friends that follow like that Roaring Kitty and all that, like the Reddit people or whatever?
No.
Or
What is that?
Some guy from Boston. I should have asked Emily, I guess. But I mean, like a YouTube or Twitter personality who was pushing GameStop or something like that. I wasn't really following it very much, but I know a lot of the young people were doing, because nowadays you can own fractional shares, which is kind of a new invention, I think. And
yeah, I've done a little bit of that on Cash App, which is it's kind of like a Venmo,
Square,
PayPal type thing, and you can do the same thing, own fractional stocks. But I know a lot of people use Robinhood.
Right. Oh yeah.
And they do, because you can do leveraged trading on Robinhood with fractional shares. So I think a lot of like people my age are going in and just kind of going bankrupt, just trying to like, leverage their positions. But I don't do that.
Yeah, that's
yeah, your parents are still here.
Yeah, Mom looks pretty scared.
That's pretty dangerous when the stocks aren't going up every day.
Yeah. All right. Well.
Yeah, put Carter on the spot there.
That's all right. There's a wisdom to be had from the elders.
He stuck around, so he knew that was a risk.
I did.
Well, I hope the industry can get going again, Carter, because cultural activities, high and low, are very important to people.
Yes. Yep. Me too. They will.
Yeah.
Eventually.
I just saw a real crazy statistic about the number of people that aren't even going to take the SAT or ACT test. And some of that has to do with just college admissions policies, maybe, but what a wipeout for like 11th and 12th graders, for like high school. And
well, they're not taking it because the colleges are not requiring it for admission.
Well, that's part of it. Yeah. So if you get a good score, you submit it.
I think that it's not going to hurt you.
That's a whole industry in itself, the SAT prep and college board. Whoa.
Classes.
Actually, Carter, I did want to ask you one more question. On your USC program, right, the Thurman program, or what would you say has happened Thornton, what's happened the last couple of years for admissions or numbers, even specifically in drumming, would you say?
Well, I think it's been the same. My girlfriend's sister, who's 3 years younger, she's actually in the same program, the popular music program at Thornton, and it's just, it's been kind of horrible because, it's like all these classes are in-person performance classes and they're trying to do them virtually by using like these different programs where basically like one person will record their part on video, send it to another person, and other than that, I think it's been really terrible. But I mean, I think about how lucky I am that I was able to finish, because it's like my sophomore and junior year were so important, and those in-person performance classes were like the highlight of my college probably. And it's so sad that these students are getting kind of ripped off from that. So
But the admissions, Dave, I think the competitiveness of the program has continued to be tighter. I think for, more applications and more, same number of spots, because it's still a small program. But
yeah, same number of spots.
Yeah.
To answer your question. Yeah. About
Well,
30 kids.
Uncle Dave was right when he said, this has been a real challenge for you guys, fresh out of college or in college, and hopefully we're seeing the big light at the end of the big tunnel.
Yeah, it is crazy because I feel like a year ago, I'm like, oh, I'm getting all this momentum, like things are kind of moving, and then it just stops. But it's been nice because I've told my parents this a lot, just I've been able to practice a lot and just focus on getting better at my instrument. Whereas I obviously practiced before, but I was doing a lot of rehearsals. I was doing a lot of music learning, so I'd learn songs for different artists, or I'm learning covers, or, so there was a lot of time, not just like technical practice. But now, since that's kind of the main thing that I've been doing, it, like I've gotten a lot better in the last year. So that has been a plus. So
Is there sort of a belief in the profession that drum skills peak at a particular time, like your late 30s or?
I would say, it is crazy how there are drummers in their 60s that are still just amazing. My thinking is that it probably does in your 30s, because your mid 30s, once you lose your physical speed and like explosiveness, it's like in sports, once you lose that, you're not gonna have as much speed. But with music, it's like you don't need to be explosive all the time, and you can adapt as you get older. But yeah,
It was interesting. We saw a documentary on Karen Carpenter from the Carpenters, and she used to be a drummer, and I was kind of shocked. And I guess she reluctantly came forward, which I think you need to do pretty soon and start singing. But I was kind of, obviously that would help a singer too. Having that background, but I was kind of surprised or interested, I guess, or whatever the word for it is. It was pretty cool.
I think there's a lot of, at least within my cohort, there's a lot of cross instrumentation, like a lot of, like I can't really think of one person that does just one thing. Maybe I don't know. Maybe there are a couple singers that I know that maybe that's all they do. They don't play any instruments, but most people, they either play piano and sing, they play guitar and bass, or they play bass and drums, or a little bit of everything. So
when looking around a little bit, I saw the guy from Grand Funk Railroad and a couple other guys, but it's very hard to be the drummer and singer, isn't it?
Yeah, there are some people that do it. Yeah, just physically it can be difficult, because you're kind of moving all around. But Anderson .Paak, who's kind of like a newer artist that does that, and he was a drummer first type person that now is a singer, but it's really cool because for his live performances he still plays full drum set and sings.
Wow.
And I think he has a second drummer, because sometimes I think he moves out behind the drum set. But yeah, it's not very common. It's also, I feel like it's an awkward thing stage wise, because the drummers are usually like slightly back.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, if you're like a singer, you can be in front, have more interaction with the crowd. But Anderson .Paak does it, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, like I could do it at church maybe, but I don't really want to.
Come on, Carter, I'd like to hear you on background vocals.
Yeah.
Is like
And
it,
what you were talking about earlier about a female member, that's not Nova Darlings anymore, right?
oh yeah, it is.
Oh, okay. So that's okay. So Nova Darlings is still, I mean, it's COVID knocked out, but it's still intact.
Yes, we're intact. We've just basically done nothing. We kept in touch. I mean, we're all really good friends too, so we've been keeping in touch. And then really like 4 months ago, we decided, okay, let's actually try to do something remotely. So we recorded some demos where we each record our own thing from our homes. And then my roommate, Mackin, and we recorded drums in the space where I practice, and it's kind of like a half studio. We recorded drums for a song that we're doing now that we're going to actually try to fully produce out and release as an actual song. So that's kind of our next mission. But yeah, it's slow, and I think like we're kind of okay with, you know, taking our time. We're going to work on this one song, and I think for us too, we were such a good live band, and we kind of leaned into that a lot. I feel like we got a lot of fans from playing live, you know? So I think our identity is really tied into live. So it's been interesting transitioning, but yeah.
What's Mac's instrument again?
Well, he
Bass?
he plays
Bass.
bass.
Yeah.
But he also plays guitar and sings. And he's working on his own album actually too. So that's what he's been doing a lot of. And he had me record drums for that like 6 months ago now or something. So that was a cool project to be a part of. We went
Any
into an
friends
actual
in
studio.
K-pop?
What was that?
Any of your friends in K-pop?
No. Well, actually, kind of. Yeah. Actually, a drummer that I was friends with from school. I guess it's K-pop. Maybe that's not what it's kind of like Christian K-pop rock. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because it's basically
Probably.
it's this band that they play at their church. But they're like huge. They're not huge, but they're really popular in Korea as like their own band outside of the church, but they're kind of like the house band for the church too. Which is really interesting, but yeah.
Dave follows quite a few K-pop bands, don't you, Dave?
Well, I am very amazed at just seeing the explosion. And I know a lot of it probably comes from LA area. I mean, in some ways, so.
Well, those boy bands, those are straight out of Korea. Those K-pop.
BTS.
Yeah. There are a lot of like Korean musicians in LA, though.
They're not.
Which is very interesting.
We've actually got a friend in Singapore, an Indian couple who have a daughter who is about 3 years ago now, she became the agent for BTS in Asia.
Oh, wow.
And so it's been quite, it's all stopped for the last year, but
sure,
she hit the big time from
yeah.
nothing. She
Oh my gosh.
was just starting out, and she somehow befriended BTS. And
How good do you know her parents?
talks to her mom every week.
Oh, do they want to hear a Nova Darlings tape?
Well, I think she's mainly into the Asian Southeast Asian, East Asian scene. She's based in Singapore. But yeah, at the appropriate moment when this all comes back to life, she might be a good friend to have.
Yeah, maybe a tour.
Didn't some company float a big IPO or something?
BTS.
Well, yeah, like some South Korean entertainment conglomerate filed an IPO, and each one of those young men received something like $7 or $8 million.
No, I wouldn't doubt it.
It's hardly enough to live on.
I figured one of your lawyer friends was in on it, so.
I think you could live on that if you live outside of Seoul.
Good.
All right, I'm gonna.
Hey, thanks for being a good sport.
Yeah, thanks
Oh
for
yeah,
hanging
great
on,
talking to you
Carter.
guys.
Love
Well,
you,
I'll be
John.
going out for my mail, which will be the third highlight of the day. So thanks for everything again.
Thank you, Mommy.
I like this part too. I could go further.
Have a small group.
Grandma.
Eat at 12:30.
Bye, Carter.
See you on Monday.
Bye,
Not
Gma.
30.
Happy birthday, Gma. Love you.
Next year at this time, don't forget, a day before Claire's birthday.
Yep, we'll be there.
Oh, in person. Okay. All right.
Down to the
So
hard
long, Nelsons. I'm going.
Oh, wow. I thought you said you could go longer.
I could.
Oh,
No, it's all right. Just tell us who's giving you some attention. Anybody unexpected?
No, not unexpected. I mean, I know all, there are no mystery
Oh, well. Or
calls.
random, somebody who got it in the shopper and then they sent you a happy birthday call.
One of the monkeys did do that. Acquainted
Most
public.
of it was
I
Sarah.
think it's that one, David Nelson. He even asked me if I heard birthdays on the radio today, and I don't think I heard them, and I'm not sure they're on Saturdays.
No, Erwin's mother told him it was on 7:45 on Saturday, so I was listening today, and it was not. There was not even obits, nothing.
Yeah, well, I always am tuned to those, but then the shopper and the newspaper, you
can thank me. I didn't put you on the cable channel. I was gonna do that. Scroll down.
I don't know that you would know how to do that, but
Just call SLM or whatever it is.
see, you wouldn't know.
Well, SM Net or whatever you are.
Yeah, well, you still don't know.
Okay.
He would have done his research. He would have got it.
And I'll be Gmail before we all know it, and I'm not looking forward to it, but you know. Right now, I can do some Gmail, simple Gmail, but I do not know, and maybe one of you could tell me briefly, when you send me a message, I want to put your address in my contacts. I don't even know where the contacts button lives.
Gmail does it automatically. Next time you want to address something to one of your correspondents in Gmail, you just start typing their name, and it will pop up. Now, if they have a name, an email name like mine, which is Mark Alvin Nelson at Gmail, that's very easy. If they have-
Okay, but the screen, where is the screen to do that on?
No, just in
Because
your.
I'm-
Just open a new mail, click the plus sign.
Oh, okay, the plus.
Go and type it in the two box.
Okay, I can find the plus sign, I think.
Takes a while to get used to it, but it's.
Yeah, you have to kind of pay attention. Weird stuff can come up, but basically it'll give you options, and
Okay.
it's very, very easy.
Well, that's why tech support's coming in June.
No, Mark has to, I'm happy to help.
Well, I'm very familiar with Gmail because I've been using it since I got fired from my last job.
Because of the Gmail incident.
Well, among other things.
Well, Margaret, how's your back?
Yeah.
It's much improved. I, finally went and got some physical therapy, dry needling.
Dry
And-
needling, huh?
Yeah, that helped immensely.
Wait, what was it called?
I
Physical
had,
therapy, what was the word?
Needle?
dry needling. I
Oh.
had
Oh.
strained or torn trapezius, which is a kite-shaped muscle behind your shoulder blades. So it affects your neck, your shoulder, and then your upper arm. And he put these needles in, and first time I couldn't really feel it. The second time, boy, oh boy, I could feel it. But yeah, I don't ever feel them coming out, you know. You're lying down and he puts them in and he says, oh, you can get up. And I said, well, do I have to be careful of the needles sticking out of the back? And he goes, I already took them out.
It's just, I think they just put them in and out. It's kind of like an acupuncture, but
That's what I was.
Yeah, sounds like it.
they don't leave them in for a long time.
No, it's in and out.
But it made a difference.
Yeah, it made a difference. And he said it just takes time, which it has. And so
She's been running at about 80% capacity for a week now. So,
you're
Which is-
exhausted.
well, she normally does about 80% of the work around here. So 80 times, that's 64%. That means I've had to do more work, a little bit more.
Mark's
Mark-
great.
She's almost bulletproof.
That's why she needs that espresso machine.
It's true.
Margaret, thank you so much for those books.
Oh, have you guys read An American Spy?
No. That's, is that Stuart Copeland?
No, this is written by a Black woman about a Black CIA agent who's a woman. And it's terrific.
Okay. I want to read that one. I'm up.
Send it to you. I've tried to give it to Mark, but it's on his ever-growing pile that Zach calls the graveyard.
Where books
You
go.
can't read everything, but I just want to say I'm just 100 pages into the library book, and that is such an exquisitely written book. And I had no idea, you know, we were here at the time of the fire, and we had no idea that it occurred because of Chernobyl was happening.
I know.
And she just has just such a beautiful way of unfolding a story. And
Well, you know, I went to hear her last year.
Oh, you
when
did?
Colorado shut down. There was a conference center, and there were probably 400 people in that room. And she is an exceptional storyteller. You know, she was just mesmerizing. And at one point, you could see one of the organizers sitting up there going like this because she was supposed to start Q&A. And she said, oh, I'm so sorry, you know, I've run way over. Everyone, I need to stop. And there's just this resounding 400 or 500 people.
yeah, no, I can imagine. I mean, it's amazing. And I just really wanted to thank you for this
Oh, well,
out here. I look forward to reading the other book, but Sarah's reading the other one.
Yeah, that was a great book. Very enjoyable. Called The Library by Susan Orlean. Quite a tale. I think, you know, we all have very vivid memories of a library that was, you know, a huge part of our childhood. And our kids have of a public library virtually no memories of that. They have memories of going to the bookstore and treating it as a library, or the school library for sure.
Yeah.
Very exciting for kids. But
This is how we used to do book reports. Go down to the library and just get the encyclopedia. Well, mommy had some too, but yeah.
And Encyclopedia
Yeah.
Britannica. Well, do you remember, Dave? I have a very, very vivid picture in my mind of the previous library. You know, we had a Carnegie Library where the new library in Spencer is now. But, you know, you would walk up the steps to get to all the books and the magazines to the left, and then downstairs where there were some meeting rooms and a drinking fountain, and I think the bathrooms and probably a little phone book. But you guys might be, I mean, Sarah, you're probably too young, but Dave, do you remember that Carnegie Library?
Now that you mention it, maybe, but not really. I'm sure I went there, but where was it?
Same place.
Same place.
Oh.
But it had a big staircase, well, as I recall, a big staircase that went up. And then from there, once you got inside, you would go up again to get to the books, and, you know, very high ceilings, huge windows. And then they had a downstairs as well where they did community events and things like that. Is that right, Mom?
Yeah, I don't even remember much of the downstairs. I mean, I'm amazed that you recall the other one, and I'm trying to remember when the new one would have
Yeah.
been there. but-
I used to go in there and go to the left and, you know, I used to read those popular mechanics and
Yeah.
mechanics, how to make rockets and bombs and stuff. That was where you learned a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, and the Carnegie libraries were all this, and in my hometown, all the same model. And the
Round brick, and they were all over the place.
steps up, which, you know, was a no-no, certainly.
I
Well,
can probably
Dave
find
and
a-
Esther, after we left you that year we went to Gettysburg, we drove, you know, back roads up through Virginia and West Virginia into Pennsylvania. And what we decided after we went to these small towns where there were these extraordinary libraries, public libraries, you know, one of the big buildings in a town that would have been built in the 1800s or early 1900s, you know, temples with pillars. And it was, I said, I'll bet we could take an incredible trip across America to these smaller towns, to the public libraries, if they're still in business. And you get a sense of what the town is by the books that are featured in front for, you know, the popular book that has come in, or, you know, whatever they're trying to flog that day or that week. And it was just amazing.
There it is.
What? That was in Spencer?
Same place the current library is, right on the corner. by the-
It looks like it's a mirror of the junior high, kind of.
Yeah, probably contemporary.
Does it say when it was demolished?
What would you guess? I would guess I was probably 10
Well,
years.
based on what you're saying, Dave doesn't remember it.
66,
So it had to
68.
be, it had to be before,
You went to junior high across the street.
Well, those steps, this is kind of a better shot. Those steps
Yeah,
are not
that's-
as big as I recall them. I
Yeah.
thought they went way up.
That looks like Lincoln too. Or Reynolds.
Yeah, but look at those big windows. I mean, that upper floor. I mean, I was a little person, so the reading room seemed bigger, but yeah, there was lots of natural light.
Boy, and then they went modern, quite different architecture.
Yeah, they flattened it out, right?
Dave, you were working on the year, but I know how old you are, and so I'm.
well, I'm reading some Jungian psychology right now, so maybe something will come up tonight in my dream or something.
So it was a Carnegie Library. The grant of $10,000 was given to Spencer on January 13, 1903. It opened on March 6th, 1905, and it says the Congregational Church. What does that mean? Was it a church before it became a library?
I thought that was across the street, but anyway,
Was it? Oh, weird.
before my time also, but
Yeah, I haven't
Like
found.
where the big parking lot is?
hmm,
Like where the big parking lot is?
true.
You mean the one-day-old bread store?
I guess there's that there next to, I guess.
Well, and on the other side, on the back side is utilities office, right? Or
Yeah, if you figure out the year of that, Mark, let me know, because I feel bad. I don't remember it. I'm sure I was in there.
well, it might have been just on the cusp of, you know, before you were properly trained to go to the library.
Maybe he wasn't interested.
Hey.
He was. He went to look for that baseball encyclopedia.
Yeah.
He loved that thing.
And we brought books home for you right along very regularly.
I used to check out books from the church library, actually.
Yeah, we had
That
that.
wasn't too bad.
Does that still exist, Mom?
It doesn't, you know, kids have their own books these days that they buy, and so it's kind of a non-issue, but it's,
Well, libraries have become a place for people to log onto the internet in a lot of cities, right?
yeah, well, not
For conferences and meetups and stuff.
And social service agencies. I mean, it's where people here who are homeless spend most of their day.
yeah. In our public library, the computers are used for those
Yeah,
functions.
we've had a lot of computer stations added to Centerville's too.
They still support books. I mean, they buy them, and
Well, there's gonna be e-bookanization here. I mean, it's gonna come. I still like to hold a book and smell it and all that, but I don't know.
And reading to little children, I mean, who can,
I think that's still alive. I know your
Oh.
little nephew, I mean, he's still reading board
Oh my
books and then
gosh.
picture books and yeah.
He loves
depends on the parents, yeah. But right, they've
I
certainly
mean,
made
that'd be terrible if some kid's growing up with a Kindle.
not sitting next to mom and dad on the couch, yeah. Don't want to see that. Have you come up with it yet, Mark? I'm leaving.
No, it's,
She's leaving again, Dave.
the original one was built in 1902. That's all I'm coming up with instead of the modern one.
Okay.
Dave,
Well,
you
you did
such a
good job, Mommy, sending us there, and you had some decent books at home too. So
Yeah, well, I didn't buy as many as I sort of would have liked to have.
Okay, so
But
here it is.
because of the library, you didn't have to.
no,
On November 5th, 1968, voters approved a bond issue which raised $225,000 for a new building. The remainder was supplied from an $81,000 LSCA grant from the federal government awarded in 1969. 65 years after its conception, the Carnegie Library was torn down to make room for the present library structure. A grand opening was held September 1971.
wow, I should have remembered that then.
Yeah, so 71, well, it was torn down 2 years before that, so
I was 10, yeah, fifth
Makes
grade.
a difference.
1970, so I was already 16 or 15. And that may have been when I was going there the most, was at that age, although. I think
And
it was younger.
school libraries developed in your time quite a few books.
I have very little memory of the school library.
Me too. High school, I don't know. Was there a library there?
Well,
Yeah.
Mrs. Swanson and the high school library, but I'm talking elementary libraries,
Oh,
which I don't think they had as much as they do now. They're lovely, usually.
What, in the elementary school, you mean?
Right.
Yeah.
There was a mean librarian in high school. I remember her, like Mrs.
Mrs. Swanson?
No, doesn't sound familiar.
No, I think there was another.
Somebody.
Mrs. Underwood?
This is kind of what I remember is that's a shot from inside.
Wow.
That is,
Those big
amazing.
windows.
Yeah, I can kind of see that, but
And they're beautiful.
Is that stained glass? Is that
Stained
what?
glass windows, it looks like.
Wow.
yeah.
I
It
wonder. if
really
it's-
wasn't a very old building.
Mark, I was going to ask you, what kind of books do you guys read each month?
Well, we've read 3 nonfiction or 4 nonfiction and 1 fiction so far. So mainly nonfiction. We're reading right now a book that Margaret just read that I'd highly recommend. It's by Robert Caro, the guy who wrote about LBJ. He's written, I think, how many? 3 or 4
He's on
volumes.
the 5th volume of 3 volumes. Each one is about 1,000 pages.
And he's also the guy who wrote The Power Broker, which is about Robert Moses, the most powerful man in New York City who was never elected to public office. The guy who built all the roads and parks and aqueducts and bridges and stuff. But this is just a little book called Working. And Robert Caro, he's afraid that he's going to die before he writes a proper memoir. And so he put this together. It's just 200 pages. Talking really about his experience in writing these books, which are, they take him on average between 10 and 12 years each. His wife is his steady research assistant. They do these things together. They move to the high country,
Hill country.
what they call the hill country in Texas for 3 years, just to gain more insight into what kind of upbringing Lyndon Johnson had. This guy does thorough research. One of the chapters is entitled Turn Every Page, which was a lesson that he learned when he was a young journalist from a senior guy who said, if you're going to be an investigative journalist, you got to turn every page. And so I'm just at the part in the book right now where he's going into the Lyndon Baines Johnson Presidential Library, and he's going, oh, there's a lot of pages in there.
Like 5 million or something.
like more than you could ever turn in a lifetime.
Just the Vietnam War alone would take you.
That's
well,
the volume he's working on right now.
You know how old LBJ was when he died?
No.
64, right?
Yeah.
Whoa, that's all?
And that was after what Caro calls really the last period where the federal government really worked well, because the Senate, the Senate under LBJ, before he became president, he got stuff done. And I'm just reading the chapter now about how he got stuff done.
Well, when you go into the library, there's this huge wall of every bill that was passed. And it just, it's expansive. It just hits you right when you walk in. You just think, oh my God.
Is that in Austin? Where is that?
Austin.
Austin. Okay. Well, I just have read the part where I think might be going up an escalator where you can kind of look into where all the papers are. and
Yeah, that's pretty amazing too, but it's kind of hidden, the library itself. You wouldn't really know it was there unless you knew what you were looking for, but then you walk inside and it's very interesting. They have a lot of audio there too.
Yeah, a phone
You know,
calls.
you pick up a phone and you're listening to
Yeah.
LBJ,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
apply leverage.
Yeah.
Austin, you were in Austin.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because Carter had a gig there with an artist, and it was great for us because I think we saw him six different times that week at South by Southwest.
Yeah.
And yeah, we just love it's a wonderful place to, I mean, you know, it's probably changed just in the last few years because they're building so much there, but it's a fun place to go, especially when there's something like South by Southwest going on.
Yeah, it sounds like a great town. You've never been there either.
No.
I mean, because that's a big deal. It's not just about the music, you know, you have, I think, a week of education and a week of
Tech.
technology and then there's a week of music. But I mean, people are having a good time.
Well, that's a good, you know, it's an easy read, and it's quite interesting. You know, one of my friends I talked to the other day who's in this little reading group, he was kind of, you know, it's kind of embarrassing if you haven't read any of those books, which really you haven't even read any of those. But they're a big commitment, 1,000 pages.
Sounds like it. Yeah, no,
But he was saying, gosh, I think, you know, with this, I can kind of fake it. Like I can pretend like I've read the books. it does, you know, he's got a good 30 pages on Robert Moses and then a good 30 pages or 40 on LBJ. Highlights.
that's the way to do it.
His brother,
Perfect.
just incredible in-depth research. And, you know, Robert Moses, this guy spent 12 years of his life. And, you know, they had to sell their house and everything before he became successful. And when Robert Moses wouldn't talk to him, wouldn't give him an interview, although he persisted. And over many, many years, he finally got 7 interviews with the guy. And then when he died, Caro didn't go to the funeral because he knew, you know, this book was not very flattering about Robert Moses. And the ones about LBJ are, I think everybody recognizes them as great biographies and great history, but you know, these are flawed human beings, and he depicts them.
Wow.
In all of their, you know, glory and vainglory both.
Yeah.
But it's a fun book. What are you reading, Dave?
Well, right now I'm reading, I don't know if Margaret, if you read this one, Loris. It's a new Russian novelist. He's I don't know what you would call it. Takes place in medieval Russia. It's been a pretty well publicized book. And it's just kind of going back into the Middle Ages. He's kind of an herbalist. And I think the book it's going to show kind of a love and a commitment and kind of a nostalgic look back at old Russia, I guess. But I haven't really hit the main points of it yet. I'm only about midway through it. And then I have a lot of nonfiction, but I don't always, I kind of bounce around. I probably have a graveyard, as Zach called it, that I kind of read here and there. But, you know, once I was asking Dad why he doesn't read a lot sometimes, and he told me he reads all day at work. And sometimes I feel like that myself, because I'm squinting at a computer for long hours a day looking for a 1984 medical record blood pressure reading for somebody, and it gets kind of taxing, but it's not enjoyable reading like free reading is. So, but I don't know. I read a wide variety of stuff, but sometimes I'm tired.
That's one of the, there are a number of kind of nice things about being retired, but one of them is that you aren't, burdened by your work at the office, and probably increases your appetite for sitting down with a book.
We're not big TV people, but Victoria gave us a Roku, and for
You're almost saying it right, Dave.
and I was able to set it up with some administrative guidance from my wife.
Good.
And
Good.
sometimes we go down there and watch Euro News or maybe like just weird stuff, but
Cooking shows.
yeah, cooking shows. But
There's some good movies, like a Hallmark types of movie. It's like a low budget, but it's good. No, good, heartwarming stories.
They're heartwarming.
Yeah.
I just got cake at the door.
Oh, who's that from?
Betty.
Betty.
Betty Crocker.
Oh, I know Betty. What's it?
Betty Crocker.
There's something between two Ritz crackers, looks like fudge frosting.
Oh, yum. A selection.
And there's some banana nut bread or some kind of nut bread. Also.
Platter.
Did she know it's your birthday today?
Yes, that was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm having cake. Thank you.
How about the Cottons? Have the Cottons acknowledged your birthday?
Carol Lee's usually very behind that curve, but always is when it comes. Well, it won't be food because she's not into that, but she'll remember me.
What, is she gonna send you money?
Oh, just a good phone call.
How about your cousin, Doris?
She called last night.
wow.
Beat the rush.
Yeah.
I had a couple calls last night.
How about Tim?
When I
Horton?
quit here, there'll be a couple of emails, and then there's still the USPS mail.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
How about Tim Irwin? Has he called yet?
Tim keeps Dave advised on all local happenings, and some of it's gossip, I think. Right.
How about Sarah Kuran's initiative of
Very,
Boys
very
in Jail?
100%, almost 101.
Did they all come through as far as you can tell? Did you get an email, a letter from everybody?
Floral arrangements.
No, I mean the mail.
Don't disclose the plan, Mark.
I don't know if the plan has been figured out.
And Mark's French chocolates mailed from France.
Okay, well, what about?
And it says avoid excessive heat on the outside, which was a joke because they needed to say,
Could have been better.
avoid intense chill. But they came through, and I'm sorry you all can't have a piece because Mark says he and Margaret just have a piece or two a day. And
Yeah,
Well,
sometimes two.
Margaret does, but I have to actually remove it from the house to keep Mark from eating them.
well, it is so good and so, easy on the eyes. And there's a little booklet if you read it on each.
Gotta read the book.
Which brand?
Each blend of chocolate.
It's good.
Is it the Z? Is it Z or what's the brand?
It's called Z Chocolate. And my beloved secretary in Singapore, Choi
Yeah.
Hoon Hee, started sending those. What was she on our anniversary
Yeah,
or my birthday?
no, your birthday,
My
and then our
birthday.
anniversary one year.
And
Like 5 years now, and they just keep coming every year.
she must have a fine bank account to do those things. What do you send her on her birthday?
That's one of a small number of people whose careers I greatly enjoy.
Yeah.
She went from being a secretary, and Mark said, "You are born office manager material," and she didn't want to do it and didn't want to do it, and Mark convinced her, and she's now one of the superstars in Mark's firm.
Now she runs all of Asia and she flies around the world, and
Wow.
so he's kind of exceeded her fondest expectations. all on the strength of just extraordinary skills.
You could always go back and be
Yeah.
able to work for her.
Man, anything, I'd want her to run it, her to be involved. She's great.
Where is Jill Tucker, just briefly? I mean, and where is her daughter, more importantly?
Jill Tucker is in Hong Kong, her daughter is in Honolulu.
Honolulu,
Honolulu.
single gal.
Yeah, she's young. She was in the Peace Corps and then she is post-Peace Corps.
Okay.
Living with her grandmother, I think.
No, her grandma's in a assisted living place.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't remain.
I'm going out for my mail now. Excuse me, Mark, you had something?
You can go. I'm running this, so I can stay on. Margaret and I might just stay on by ourselves.
That's right. You are the host, aren't you? Yeah. Well,
I think I'm gonna bail too, you guys.
All right. You sure did a great job parenting those 3 girls. It was
Well, like I said, we got there's a lot of good nieces and nephews floating around, boy.
Yeah, that was fun.
Good crew.
That was fun.
Yeah.
too bad they can't be exposed to them more often, maybe. Huh?
No, it is a shame, and I'm very impressed.
Yeah, well, you do a good job of keeping in touch, though, especially the girls and I.
Well, we're going to be visiting you guys next year, I think, assuming that, Zach is able to move to DC.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna come too.
Pardon, Sarah?
We're gonna come too.
Yeah. Well, I think people are definitely gonna want to get out, right? I mean, and it's so fun when things were back to normal. It's just, I was saying that about Georgetown or whatever it is, Zach, but even something like that, you just take it for granted, but it's so fun. I mean,
Was that a surprise that the girls couldn't come home for spring break?
no, we've been kind of told it's possible it could change. They've kind of had a lot of restrictions, but they're kind of letting them off once in a while now. And I mean, some guy from Johns Hopkins today came out and said everything's going to be over by April. So I don't know.
I saw that.
I mean, it's funny. I don't read a lot, but I put in the word COVID variant in Twitter and just hit search, and you see one guy saying these don't matter, don't worry about it, and then the next guy saying this is a 3rd jab. And personally, I've been, especially being in the military and when I deployed to Saudi Arabia, I mean, I've been jabbed and poked so many times I don't even care anymore. But I think I would prefer the J&J. I guess just do the 1 jab. It was kind of done later in the day, maybe, I don't know. But I'm just hoping that guy was right, but I have my suspicion about it.
Which is what?
Well, that it might not be over by April.
Well, and I think the worst case scenario, which hopefully doesn't come to play, is that variant is now, that UK variant is now, it's 10% in whatever, I don't think we're doing much testing, so we don't really know. But if it's 10% and they think it's going to be considerably more before it's gone. So.
And the vaccination goes after severity. It doesn't go after whether you get it or not, right? I mean, sometimes the flu shot is hit and miss too. I mean.
Right. Well, the flu shot is always, more like 50 or 60%.
No.
That's why these mRNA things are so amazing. It's 95. Yeah. The ones you guys got.
Sarah and Corey stepped up and.
We did. We lucked out is what happened.
Yeah, we totally lucked out.
Yeah.
Were they in the blind tests? Were they treating spouses the same way and giving both active shots?
No, because our friends that told us about it, who are in the healthcare field, one of them got the vaccine and one got placebo. And we went on opposite weeks too. We didn't go on the same day.
So they didn't even know that you had a spouse who had it. Yeah.
Right. Not necessarily. Yeah.
And they got money, right?
Yep. $750.
You did?
But each time we show up for an appointment, and there are 6 appointments because this goes for 2 years, and we give blood, we get $125.
What? So you got 1,500?
No, so we'll give
All
it
together, yeah.
oh, together. Yeah.
Well, how are we going to share that?
Well, I'm letting Corey spend 50% of his on his own, and then I
Yes, I'm
manage.
just finding out about that right now.
Oh,
Happy birthday to me.
and there's one other thing. every week we report if we've had symptoms or not, and they put $5 on these cards.
Every time.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so they're trying to track, obviously, long-term effect.
Yeah.
So,
Now that's something I haven't read on Twitter before.
I had to get off Twitter.
Corey had to get off Twitter, too much time,
Yeah.
or too negative.
I deactivated Facebook, got rid of Twitter. I no longer go to TikTok. It's just, I don't feel, at the end of the day, I just feel like I should be reading or doing something to, I don't know, enriching.
I just make a rule. I don't.
Yeah, do something enriching like
But he's
this.
still not in order.
You like the other one better.
We know.
I'll send it to you.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Costco World.
I thought we already settled that and it was in the mail already.
Yeah, you look on your front porch.
You want to do one of those tiles with the whole Zoom group for Polly.
Oh, did somebody take, we can take a still.
Send a picture to the chat, but I can send you.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I'll send it by
God.
email because it'll be a higher resolution.
Plus, I did record this entire, it's still recording.
Yes.
Although it started about halfway into Steve's monologue. I screwed up until you reminded me, Sarah. I didn't.
Yeah. It wasn't that far in.
Oh, did you see when I started?
Yeah.
And how would a layman access that?
Well, I don't know, but once we're done here, I'll find out and you'll get a copy because you might be the only one who wants to watch it.
They're frozen now. Oh, okay.
Yeah, froze. So
Did
he
I?
can just send you the recording. You did, but briefly.
Okay. Yeah. I will find the recording and send the link to everybody. I'm assuming it's a link.
It'd be 3 hours. I might not watch it or listen to
Is
it.
3 hours? Just 2 hours. Oh, it is 3 hours, isn't it?
Oh, really?
10 to
well,
1.
two-
Yeah. All right. Dave, do you have work meetings by Zoom? Do you meet with people?
Yeah, we do. I mean, they're not that necessary, but we do. Yeah. Maybe
Have you used
once a month, something like that.
You do it on Zoom or Teams or what?
Team. Yeah, it's MS Teams. Yeah. I mean, we do, like, I go to some of our church functions are on Zoom and things like that, but work is pretty, I mean, my job's a little different too, because I really just coordinate with one other person basically. So it's not real necessary to coordinate or catch up, but they have things like what Corey was saying, Zoom coffees, or somebody was mentioning it, you know, those kind of show your pet, that kind of thing. Because you know, it is. I just was looking at an article from, I think it was a guy from Zillow or something like that, saying in the future there's probably going to be a different in the corporate ladder about those who came into the office and those who stayed home. You know, the idea of FaceTime, seeing the guy, getting some hey you details, things like that. So maybe, you know, it could change back again, you know, too. And not everybody has a nice big house, and, you know, so I guess, but my job itself isn't really that necessary. But, you know, you can disappear at my job too. I mean, we have like 800 attorneys now, so they don't know you from Adam anymore. Like, I don't know my supervisor. I never met her. So, you know, and you're just kind of a number on an Excel spreadsheet now. I mean, and so trying to get a special situation or something is a little difficult, but that's the nature of the job. I mean,
yeah,
kind of expendable, to be honest with you. So,
yeah, I
think a movie about that, The Expendables.
pardon?
I think for the younger, the 20-year-olds who are working, like Claire's office is only 3 people, but she's been going in, and usually there may be one other coworker there, but now they are going to go 100% remote. And I think for her, it's a disadvantage because she wants that social engagement and contact. And I think for us, it's great. We've got everything we need, and we have a lifestyle already and a pattern of living. But for young people trying to meet people and get connected, I hope it kind of does swing back where people want to go in I mean, I think the younger people will. Unless you're in a relationship already, or, yeah, it just seems like it's lonely.
The whole mentoring thing too.
Yeah.
Very junior people having immediate casual access to people who can help them through a thorny issue at work, as opposed to having to, can you chat now on Zoom or, whatever. I think it's a big loss for young people from, the issues you identified, which are very big, and just growing professionally.
Right.
Yeah, I heard a college professor talk about that too, because like he felt more pressure because like he's on all the time, for an hour, probably kind of like what Corey was saying. But after class, you can't go to someone and go, gee, what was that guy talking about? or maybe meet somebody or whatever. So it is, I do definitely feel sorry for some of those younger people. I mean, it's just, my neighbor across the street, 11th grade in high school is like the hugest thing in your life, and it's kind of wiped out.
Oh, terrible.
Yeah. Tough.
Elena mentioned when she had a class and she had a question during this pandemic, and the one instructor, it was so excited to talk to the student. The student won't come to him in person anymore, but he was really, almost like a thrill to show her, like a kind of guide her and give her advice, and so they had a good time. So it was a good experience for her, and for
And
the
him.
professor too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you were talking.
Well, I guess there's some people who doesn't like to being in a person, but some of them, they want to be out there, so we'll figure it out, after all this pandemics, where people stand,
Yeah.
I think that's right. I think it's taught us a lot about ourselves, about our society. I have this nephew. He's about the same age as Claire, and I always considered him a social savant because he could be in a group of people he's never met before, and in 5 minutes, he's everybody's best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And during this time, he had a breakdown. And I always thought that this was a huge advantage for him, that he is just so good at connecting with people. But I didn't realize how important it is for him to be able to have those connections. And he kind of snapped, and then he just went crazy. And I had to stop looking at his Instagram because he was doing these things that weren't safe. But it's hard for me to be, which I don't think is a good idea. But on the other hand, I think he had a breakdown already, and I just don't think he could manage without being with people. It was a really interesting thing, and I had just never seen that it could be so detrimental to somebody, because you mentioned, Dave, if you're in a big house, and I mean, for Sarah and I, it's been wonderful, really. And, but for others, it's just really tough. I should have said Sarah and me, sorry.
No.
I correct myself. Had to take the grammar hammer on me.
Grammar hammer.
Grammar hammer on myself. Okay, all right. Anyway, the point is that this has been eye-opening, I think.
This or the pandemic?
The whole thing, the pandemic, I think it reveals, so many things do, but this has revealed things about our society and our connections with people. You're talking about taking things for granted. And I just am so looking forward to being in Spencer for a family reunion. Just would be a delight.
Although realistically, to get everyone, as we know, once the kids started having lives of their own, jobs of their own, getting everyone together becomes really tough.
It's a heavy lift.
Yeah, the beauty of this technology
Yeah.
has meant that this very extended family can gather, and it's not
Yeah.
the same because it's not over several days and the
Yeah.
casual hanging out. But I just think, the people's aversion to using technology as we now do it as second without a thought
Yeah.
has really been a wonderful result of this. And, Sarah, you were saying keeping in touch with high school friends and
Mhm.
people from your past, and there's a joy in being able to connect. And we could have done it before, but we didn't.
Yes.
And now,
Yeah.
it's a habit, which,
Right.
I think we will keep up. I will be curious as our lives begin to open up again and you can go out to dinner and do all the things we used to do. It'll be slow, I suspect. Will this online socializing diminish to virtually nothing because the in-person, right in front of you will resume its, the dominance in the life? I'm very curious to see how that goes.
It's kind of interesting too, because we had our homeowners association meeting.
On
and
Zoom.
On Zoom, and the lady does a lot of different communities, but she says, the participation is through the roof. But when you used to have to go to somebody's house, and it's like, and you want to complain about the guy's shutters or something. But I guess, and then there was a legal beagle argument about it too, because, as you've seen in the legal world with notaries and all kinds of electronic stuff. So there was some rules that have to be passed about, is this a real association meeting, et cetera, et cetera. But it does have some bright side to that, because the participation was like incredible. Like almost everybody was there. And
Well, my reading groups, I've had one friend who's not now in the reading group, and I had invited her to the revival of one of these groups, and she said no, she just hates doing the reading group by Zoom. I love it. Number one, we find a time when everyone can do it.
Right.
No one has to worry about hosting it and providing food.
yeah,
and the
that's
rest. And it has lowered the temperature of what you have to do in order to participate substantially, and there's a much higher level of participation. So frankly, I'd rather just go see my friends for a drink or dinner as a totally social occasion and continue to meet as our reading group on Zoom.
I agree. I do Bible study twice a month, and it's always somebody's house. And then even driving there in the morning, and after the bad weather, it's kind of hassle. But everybody who knows what they're wearing that day, or hair, they don't care about whatever. So it's been nice.
Yeah, I agree.
Women.
I think for access, especially for, as we all get older, the incredible resources that are available, lectures and just content that we can now dial up so easily on our computers is just a godsend for people, and not having to get dressed up and go out in the car.
Right.
And and some of these things aren't happening in our immediate community, but they're happening in a city somewhere else. And to be able to participate now is just fantastic. There's so much great stuff out there.
We took a course last fall through the continuing studies program at Stanford. And this is a very popular professor, so he would have had very good attendance from the Palo Alto community, and people would drive down from San Francisco, which is a hassle. You have to drive horrendous highways and then you have to go back. But the class at one point had 180 screens on Zoom, which you never would have gotten in person. And it included people on the East Coast who were staying up until midnight for the end of the class because of the timing of the class. And that for the university, I don't know why they would ever go back. I mean, and this professor is an absolute pro, and at handling both the lecture and then the Q&A afterwards. It was the people where you watch people eating their dinner and Doris, this isn't warm enough, and everyone is going, mute, can hear you.
Turn it off.
But that has been, I think for universities, doing these famous professors and making the content available like that is a cash cow waiting to be milked.
Yeah.
Well, and just the free content too.
Oh, and
There's
the
just so
free
much
stuff,
good
yeah.
stuff out there.
It's almost like finding lost time too, because you could be in the kitchen doing something, or I guess there's always been cassettes or whatever, but still, it's nice.
Well, I hope the government institutions or the churches too will continue to offer that, as even when we can go in person. Hopefully they'll still stream, because it is nice to be able to, I mean, I'd never attend an obscure, the Association of San Carlos meeting, but I always read their newsletter. And if I can just jump on their meeting and watch it, I'll be more engaged. But it's they've had to open their doors in a sense, the council meetings and all the public government, and that's going to be an advantage in the long run.
Well, it's essential as our local newspapers sort of fall left and right. There's nobody reporting on a lot of that community activity that really you need somebody at that school board meeting with an eye and a report on what they've decided, and
right,
that isn't happening in more and more American communities.
Yeah, I mean, even Spencer's paper's 2 days a week, right? And then here we have, well, Centerville doesn't really have a center. That's kind of a weird thing, but there's like 55,000 people here, and it's how it's important to see your kids in high school swimming or whatever, and
right.
A lot of that stuff has changed even in the short period of time we've been here. From there used to be a guy come by, maybe 2 different papers, they threw it in your driveway, and one of them was kind of like the shopper or whatever, but still, but now it's like you said, it's very, maybe zero even, actually.
Yeah. I mean,
They have those things called Patch or whatever, or Axios, like you said, but
Axios, yeah.
it's very, I guess they get by publishing legal notices. That's still going to be their cash cow, I guess. And
here we have a newspaper that had a newsroom of, I think, 325 people at one point. I think it's down to 50 now. It was purchased by Alden, that same company that just bought the Chicago Tribune, and they just strip it down and bleed it and then kill it.
It's just worthless. It's really a crime.
And what's filled the gap here is the public radio station. They do a very good job of covering the city, but boy, without them, there's a vacuum.
Totally. Well, folks, I am going to go get
Margaret's
some.
got to start chores.
All right. Well, it's been a lovely.
I waited long enough. Mark will say, "Gosh, I'm hungry. Maybe I'll go make lunch." But no.
No, I gotta
Past
stay
lunchtime, right?
I got to stay with my family.
Well, this has been a lovely part 2.
you
Thanks.
did a good job, Annie.
Thanks for having a birthday, Polly.
Anytime, any year. And Mark kind of got everybody on board, so.
Good job.
Sarah,
It was Sarah.
Sarah did good
Sarah
too.
and Dave and Steve.
Yeah, well, Mark's retired though, and
My wife is only running at 85% right now.
I'm glad her back is better.
That's what we do in our text group. We make plans. So it's
Yeah,
everybody participated.
proud of my children.
Good.
We're glad for you.
Score.
Well, I think you ought to shoot for the George Schultz. He cranked it out until he was 100, and then he just went to sleep.
Well, today there's a funeral for Gussie Overeem, 101.
101.
Wow. That's amazing.
Last time I saw her, she was on all Pistons or whatever.
Wow.
Was she driving?
I don't know about that.
Okay.
And I haven't seen her for a while, but there are 100-year-old people funerals all along. So I'll make that, I think. Okay. Thank you.
Watch out for bumper skiers. See ya.
Everybody.
Happy birthday.
All right.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Lovely to chat.
Good
Bye.
Love you all.
Love
Nice
you.
balloon. Nice
Yeah.
touch, Mark.
Chinese New Year.
Oh, I love that bear.
It's still holding up. Awesome.
Yeah, look at that stuff.
Yeah, that's good for your next birthday Zoom call.
We'll save it till next year.
That will be Claire's.
Corey, have you sent me my thing yet?
I don't know which phone number is correct. What's your cell number?
Oh,
Oh, you
I
have it?
don't, no, I want hard copy. Yeah,
Yeah, I'll walk it over there.
blow it up though, bigger.
the quality's gonna suffer even more.
It's already pixelated.
That looks like somebody famous.
Yeah,
Who is that?
the guy in the post office.
Yeah. Look out for that guy. Wanted. Maniac.
Yeah, put that on my morning milk bottle. Missing. No,
What?
thought to have abducted child.
Hey, do you think Brad took my dry joke? I didn't mean it to sound insulting.
I didn't.
I said, do you have any friends at work? Because how
No,
come no one knows that you've moved?
no, he took that totally in stride.
I think so too.
I hope so, because he's got more friends than I'll ever have in my life.
Yes, I wouldn't worry about that. I'm kind of wondering more what they were running off to.
On a Saturday. I
Well,
don't know. They looked like they were dressed
Yeah,
to go somewhere.
They probably had something going on.
Yeah.
That was good turnout.
Good turnout, your
Hey, so
son, for
maybe-
your son showing up.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, it's not, it's whatever it is, Saturday afternoon. so-
Yeah, but it's time to go out and socialize.
Yeah, no, he'll be out there. He'll be out there doing it.
Maybe we'll see you this summer.
I suspect we will. I hope so. I think we're gonna get better fast.
That would be a dream come true.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean we can like leave the country probably. Nobody probably wants us, but
How are you going to get Emily back there?
travel around the country. Well, I think, I think if we're all inoculated and,
Oh, she
You know,
can
and-
take a flight.
yeah, even though she may not be by then, I don't know. Haven't confirmed that all with my teammates.
Well, if we drive to Iowa, which we're thinking about doing, we might come through Colorado.
Yeah, and I mean, don't you think if we've all had our shots then, and if the incidence is very
I
low?
think it's very low. I think it's very low because there's the virus load and the virus shed and I just think with what they've seen with Pfizer, I mean, if you're with people that are all vaccinated, I just think the percentage drops dramatically.
Yeah, and if there's very little community spread, which should be the case in the summer.
Yeah.
I
I think it's safe.
I'm also just kind of dumbfounded though, what's the big deal about wearing a damn mask? Why is that such a affront? I mean, Iowa just got rid of their mandatory mask requirement.
And they opened the bars.
Most of the cities, I think, have kept it. I mean, what's with that governor?
It's been turned into, a sign of if you're not masculine if you wear a mask.
Well, that's just crazy.
It is crazy, but there are people who are really invested in it. It's still seen as a political symbol and
Yeah, no, I know that's exactly what it is, but I just find it-
yeah, but I hear what you're saying because it's such a simple thing.
And it could have been
It's
so,
such a simple thing.
and it
I mean,
helps.
Trump
Right.
would have been reelected if he would have just embraced the mask.
Probably would have.
Said, we got the vaccine coming, wear your mask, we'll get there.
If he had just been able to focus on that
Yeah.
and let Fauci and those people do their work. So, I mean, Operation Warp Speed, that was great, but he should have been totally committed to it and let the experts do their thing, and he probably would have been.
Put a American flag mask on everybody in the country. Send them out. Mail them out to everybody.
That's something I thought about
Yep.
early on.
Sarah said that.
They did that in Singapore. They think they do every 6 weeks. I still have my 2 original masks. I don't even wash mine. You guys get new ones or?
No, we have a bunch of them now.
But we
because-
launder them.
Yeah, I'm doing a double now. Are you doing double when you go out?
No.
The double is nice if you wear glasses because maybe it's not a
Oh,
problem.
I hadn't thought about that.
But you
you
know where,
You
do
put
you
the
wear-
cloth on just at the grocery store. I carry one when I go running, but yesterday I
put-
put it down
okay.
here because it was keeping me warm. But I just carry it to be a good sport, but I make sure I don't come within 10 feet of anybody. I
So
run.
what were you saying? How do you put the double?
Well, you put on your white surgical mask underneath, and what happens to me, and I think a lot of people with glasses, is that it steams up.
Yeah.
And if you put the cloth on top of it, you're able to hold things tighter here, and so you don't have the aspiration. It's not coming out that way, and so my glasses don't steam up as badly. That's kind of, and it's supposed to make the mask more effective as well.
Right. So as soon as you and Margaret are inoculated, will you have the help come back in to help with Ed?
Yeah, we haven't really gone through all of that yet, but they're all in the process of getting their shots right now. So yeah, I think we probably will. He's right over here, but he might not be that keen on it.
Yeah.
On the personal stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we'll definitely have them come back and just be able to be with give them company and
Yeah. Well, sorry
haven't
about
crossed that bridge yet.
I'm glad your son rescued the video. I don't know what happened. We did a test run.
Weird, huh? I have a Chromebook and I've never, there's kind of, you can't really put anything on the desktop because it's all just in the cloud. And I have not been able to figure out, we're actually using Margaret's machine now, which is an Apple, which I also can't use. I mean, I'm a Microsoft Windows guy, but with a Chromebook now, and I haven't been able to figure out how to share screens on a Chromebook. I'm sure you can do it, but I can't.
I think it's easier. Yeah, I think it's easier with Meet, Google Meet.
Oh, is the screen sharing easier then?
It's very, because that's what we weren't able, our district said you can't use Zoom. With
Well, I think a
students.
lot of the schools are using either Microsoft or Google, right?
Yeah, and it's awesome because there are, I mean, especially I like with that video, I could have inserted it into a tab, so it would have been all ready to go. And they have something where you can just grab the tab. And the nice thing about grabbing the tab is it uses the audio from whatever video it is. And so it's the audio and the visual part of it works a lot better because it's just grabbing that tab and you're not taking a picture of the whole of your whole desktop.
Yeah.
So Google Meet I think it's really convenient, but people are so used to using Zoom.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of the free stuff is on Zoom, and yeah, because I my whole universe is in Google. I have Gmail and Google Docs and Google Photo and everything's Google, and I've got a Google computer, but for some reason I have trouble pulling stuff up. I just haven't figured out how to do it yet.
Yeah, that's very frustrating. It's funny because I went the other way because I've dealt with Windows all my life, and I just recently got a MacBook, and it is awesome. I just love it.
Well,
I mean, it takes a while because everything's so different.
Yeah.
Everything's, to me, it was, having dealt with Windows, everything was counterintuitive. How you minimize things, all these tiny little things that we do all the time with our computers, it just seemed all backwards to me. And I was so frustrated for a couple of weeks, maybe a month. And then after that, it's brilliant. Because the nice thing is too, that you can set it up so whatever you do on your MacBook Air, it's automatically going to replicate on Margaret's, and so it's just very convenient.
Yeah, no, there's a reason that and Margaret just upgraded her World War II iPhone, and the service was and this was just online stuff, but just so good. And it's an incredible.
The quality of video, the quality that you can take videos with the lenses, and it's
it's amazing.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Well, Mark, you better go help in the kitchen.
It's
Well,
a
I-
pleasure.
Margaret's battery is about to die here.
I like the flower on your vest.
Oh, thank you. That's a Kansas sunflower that a friend put on here, and I didn't take it off immediately. And now I think it would leave a bunch of gook if I did take it off.
Oh.
I like it.
Yeah, oh, I do too. That's why I kept it on. Thank you.
All right, I think we did well. I think
Yeah, no, I did too. I did too.
well, good turnout. Good turnout.
Awesome turnout.
Yeah. All right.
Couldn't be
All
better.
right.
Okay, guys.
All right, Mark.
Love you.
Love you too. Have a good Saturday.
All right.
All day.
All
All
day.
day.
Okay.
Getting ready for Claire's birthday tomorrow. We got to make that happen. So,
Calendar. Ooh,
yep.
coming every year, faster and faster.
Faster and faster.
What are you gonna do?
We're gonna go, there's a place called Liberty Station. It used to be a, what's it called? Boot camp?
Yeah, it was the Naval Training
Naval
Center
Training Center.
in
That's what
San
I'm looking
Diego,
for.
but it's where my office is. I don't know if I took you there where my office is. So they're converted buildings. Anyway, there's
Nice park area
a
and
park and we're going to do
water
takeout
and-
breakfast and it's supposed
Oh,
to
nice.
be high 60s, low
Oh.
70s. So we've got the weather and
we have to take our dog everywhere we go now, so.
yeah.
Oh, I didn't know about his illness. That's too bad. Although I think
Yes.
Sarah said something about, obviously you love your dog, but when the dog is gone, that'll be there will be some advance. Life will be easier in some ways.
It will
Yes.
be. And actually, it's been so tough. We thought we were going to lose him in April. We're very grateful that we've had him all this time, but there have been days where he's really bad and then other times where he wants to play fetch. And so it's a little bit of a roller coaster because you think, oh, he's doing really well. And then it'll just kind of take a nosedive. And so it's been pretty emotional.
It's hard to imagine that dog not being frisky.
I know I don't know. It's going to be tough, especially for me, but it's,
Yeah.
Mac's best friend is Sarah. So that's,
He's a good
yeah,
pal.
he
Yeah.
follows her everywhere she goes.
Yeah. So Corey will have to start doing that.
Yeah.
I think that's a Lyndon Baines Johnson comment. If you want a friend, get a dog. If you want a friend in politics, get a dog.
He was a really interesting guy.
All right.
Okay, guys. Ciao.
Good luck.
Ciao.